Welcome to Pocono Raceway here in the Pocono Mountains for round number 19 of the Full Throttle Sim Racing Darkmatter Designs Cup Series. I'm joined in the booth tonight, as always, by Chris Speer. And Chris, it's a big race tonight. We have a jam-packed group of drivers trying to make the field. First time in a few races that we've had some drivers that are not going to be able to make the field tonight. Chris, you got a copy on us? Yes, it is, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens as we take a look at the race. What we got going on here tonight is we're having just a click of issues here, but I think we're going to get this all sorted out very quickly here. Let's take a look at our race information here. Pocono Raceway, 2.5 miles. It's as big as Indy. It's as big as Daytona. But the big difference is this thing has 3 unique corners. Turn 1 banks 14 degrees, turn 2 9 degrees, and turn 3 is almost flat, as flat as you can get it in a racetrack at 6 degrees. Not to mention that huge straightaway. The front stretch is about a mile long, or a little less than a mile long, so a huge front straightaway. And Chris, we're going to see a lot of action in that area.
As much moves as they can going into turn 1.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Chris. And that's going to be, we're going to see those drivers fan out quite a bit here tonight. And we take a look at what's going on in the driver championship. We have some drivers that are pretty much locked in. I mean, we're getting down to the point where we are at race number 19 of 20 and, of 28 of the regular season. And Bobby Terrell, Richie Coy, Troy Torgerson, those are your top 3 in points. They've all won a race and won each. Case McMullen, Dale Neurath in your top 5. Bernard Person is in 6th with Jeff Winter, Lane Allen, Jason Speer, and Dean Doucette. Your top 10, Chris. And you look at some of these names. Case McMullen has won here before. Bernard Person's won here before, but they have not yet won this season.
No, they certainly haven't, but this is going to be a opportunity for these guys to come out here and really show what they have and have a good race tonight. This is an opportunity for those guys. We've seen both of them have strong runs, just not able to finish the race.
Yeah, exactly right. And as we talked about at the top of the show, there are 46 drivers here. Now, Full Throttle Sim Racing, about a month ago, updated their rules to allow 43 drivers like NASCAR used to do. They allowed 43 drivers in. We have not had to send anybody home since that point, but tonight, unfortunately, 3 drivers will not be able to race tonight. And we have 3 new drivers here tonight making their FTSR debut. We got Chuck Sweeting. He's going to be running the 75 machine for Geezer's Garage, teammates with Gil Gock there, and he is just now starting his lap as you see him on screen. We also have Mark Figueroa out here tonight, joining a brand new team with, he is not on the track currently, but he is going to be joining K2B Motorsports with Josh Mayu, who leaves Blackwater. And we also have Adam Newton. You might recognize Adam in some of the other broadcasts, runs the Truck Series on Wednesday nights with Full Throttle Sim Racing. He is going to be making his Cup Series debut tonight. And then we also have some big team news as Rachel Hunt has left Raging Moose Racing. That team is dissolving or has dissolved. And Rachel Hunt is joining a subsidiary of Blackwater Motorsports. So that team is going to continue to get bigger and stronger. And that's a huge addition.
It certainly is. The more minds working on the setups for these cars, the better, as everyone here will have a little bit different driving style that'll change the way that the cars handle, but it gives everyone the opportunity just to expand their knowledge with one additional teammate.
Exactly right. You see Lane Allen on the screen. He won the early race this year, or he has not won yet this year, but he's had a pretty good run in a couple races, especially the road courses, and he is on the track right now. We look at the timing tower, and you can see where your favorite driver is currently. And Chuck Sweeting in his debut race right now on the pole. It's very close, 200ths of a second. We got Terrell McCanney, Doucette, Kurt Davison back in the 41 machine in the top 5 right now. We got some other drivers still on the track. Andrew Poliski has just gone through to take his first lap. And Chris, you look at this track, how in the heck do you run a track that has 3 different setup ways, or you have to set the car 3 different ways, it seems like?
You certainly do. There's no one way to set it up because of the difference in all 3 of these corners. And really, Jared, it's really picking your battle about which corner you want to be the strongest in. For me personally, I always like to get turn 2 as fast as I possibly can, because even though you've got those 2 short straightaways there, I say short, but there's not really that short, Jared. But if you can carry more speed coming out of that turn 2 into the short straight going into turn 3, you can make up a lot of position on the guy in front of you.
And you look at the drivers down at the bottom as they continue to update. We saw Tracy Powers go fastest in Sector 2. So basically half from the start-finish line to halfway through the tunnel turn is Sector 1. Sector 2 is from that point on until the start-finish line on the back half of the track. Brody Hanna, he is a driver that has to race his way in. He has to qualify in on speed. He is outside the top 25 points, but he does have a championship provisional to fall back on if he needs it. But you certainly don't want that. Mike Watts, also another driver, coming off a podium finish in the Full Throttle Sim Racing Sports Car Challenge on Saturday nights, 3rd place. So, Mike Watts wants to make the field tonight as well. And my goodness, this is going to be tight for a lot of these drivers.
It certainly is, and no one here wants to go home, and no one wants to be the guy that kicks out someone in the race, but you also don't want to miss it yourself. And it looks like Brody Hanna's got a pretty good qualifying run right so far.
It looks like right now we do have 3 drivers that have not taken times. Mark Figueroa on your screen right now. He has not taken the time, and he is going to be close to – he's not going to make his time out, I don't believe. These guys are right at the end of the 5 minutes, but Josh Mayu and Mark Figueroa in their debut race for K2B Racing Motorsports could be potentially out of the race. And also Randall Ballard, who is not locked in on points, has not elected to take a time, nor has shown any indication that he is going to take a time, period. So right there is Figueroa going across the line. We'll see if he's going to be able to finish his lap. But Chris, when you have to race your way in on time, I mean, that's got to be extremely intense, especially when in your debut race.
It certainly is. I mean, you want to do whatever you can to show your best here, and you're not going to be able to do that if you don't make the show there, Jared.
And there it is. So qualifying has finished. So that's going to send home Ballard, Mayu, and Figueroa. So K2B on debut, not going to be able to make the main event. Randall Ballard also going to be going home as he did not put a time down either. So unfortunate for K2B. Might have been some misunderstanding about the time clock. But Chris, we got our 43 car field set.
That we do, and it's going to make for an interesting race here looking at the running order, Jared.
Sure is. And we're going to real quick grab our last week winner, TJ Bartel, and let's see if we can call down to him real quick here.
User was moved to your channel.
TJ, it's Jared and Chris up in the Full Throttle TV booth. You got a copy on us?
Yeah, 10-4.
TJ, you made it in the race, so that's always a good thing. You're coming off a huge win last week at Nashville Super Speedway, and tonight is your 100th career FTSR iRacing Cup. What do you think about this race? It's probably going to be another fuel mileage race tonight.
Yeah, it could be. I wish we were a little faster on the get-go, but I think we've got a good long-run deal, so hopefully it comes to that and we can stay out of trouble and have another good run.
Well, TJ, you're about 100 points outside the top 25. I'm sure right now your main goal is to be able to get those as many points as you can get to get toward the top 25 and get yourself in the playoffs. Does that kind of influence how you're driving these cars, how you're taking these races?
No, not really. I just know that I got to perform and do my job behind the wheel. And if I do that right, everything else takes care of itself.
For sure. Chris, you got anything for TJ?
TJ, this is one of those tracks where the aero package seems to make a huge difference here, kind of almost like a super speedway. Who have you got helping you get up front tonight?
Nobody on the start because all my teammates are up front, so I got to do it on my own.
Well, lonely man in the back of the pack. But TJ, best of luck tonight. We look forward to watching you throughout the race.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
All right, that was TJ Bartel making his 100th iRacing Cup Series start for WG Racing. But he is going to be coming from toward the back, Chris, and that's going to be interesting to watch as you see all the drivers rolling out on to the track. I almost said the field for warm-ups. And before we get into the national anthem and close this thing up here, we have apologies there. We have Pocono, the race analysis tonight, Chris. These guys can only do 35 laps of fuel. This is an 80-lap race, and we're thinking that the pit window is somewhere between 27 and 35 laps. How safe here tonight?
Well, I don't think that they're going to be able to save enough to do what you were thinking right there. But it'd be nice to see if they're able to make it on one stop. But you're really asking a lot out of these cars and a lot of cautions. I think for sure we'll see 2 stops.
Well, I apologize to the folks at home that we have they did not do a warm-up session tonight. So it was didn't happen. So let's get into the starting grid. And I apologize, I'm not going to be able to get that national anthem. But Chuck Sweeting in his debut race going to be on the pole with Bobby Terrell second. Bernard Persson and Kurt Davidson in row 2. Doucette and Chandler in Doucette and Torgerson in row number 3. Then we have Torgerson and Chandler in row 4. And Tim Bills and Tracy Powers in row 5. And then your top 12 is Martin and John Held, Chris.
Behind them, Rachel Hunt, Jason Martin, Wayne Grossi, Brian Helm, Dale Nearad, Ralph Nolan Jr., Jeff Winter, Bill Benedict III, Andrew Palicki, and Gary Griffith round out your top 20.
Yeah, and Brody Hanna there. And then we also have Zach McDaniel and Lane Allen back in row number 12. Row 13 is going to be Mike Watts and Gil Gock. Row 14, Sherwood Williford and Casey McMullen, 2 former winners coming from back in the pack, way back there. Row 15, Adam Newton and Greg Holt. Row 16, TJ Bartel and Steven Vrooman. Row 17, Richie Coy and Kenneth Schultz. Row 18 will be Kevin Rupert and Tony Solari. And then rounding out your field is Patterson, Lang, Speer, Bratton, and James Torrey make up your 43-car field tonight, Chris.
These guys are excited to get things underway. It may be an 80-lap race, but I think you're going to see tight racing throughout the entire night.
And once again, we do apologize for the little bit of miscommunication there, that we lost the warm-up somehow, but we got everybody listed out there. Chuck Sweeting in his debut race will lead him down to green with Randy McCanney, the winner at the Daytona Brew Course, on the outside. Pace car is off, and green flag is out here at the Pocono 200.
Pretty dead even heading into 1, Jared. This is a track where you have to have someone pushing you to get clear of people, and you're not seeing that at the front here. And now it looks like Sweeting's going to get that 75 machine out front.
Toward the middle, some cars back toward the middle, doing a great job there, but 3 wide racing. They're going to head down into the tunnel turn. It's going to be Sweeting and McCanney. Oh, Sweeting, maybe a connection issue. I don't see him on the screen right now, so McCanney, technically the guy out front.
Yeah, I had my personal computer fixated on him, and he completely disappeared, but it looks like he's back on track now.
Chuck Sweeting back on track. Right now it's Sweeting, or is he? Yeah, we're losing him here and there. So McCanney and Bernard Persson there as well. So we, unfortunately, Sweeting in his debut race, having a little bit of connection issue, but everybody doing good through the first couple laps here. I think McCanney is going to get credit for that lap led.
And he is out front of Bernard Persson in the 8 machine, just following behind him. Farther back, you have Davidson and Chandler, 3rd and 4th, and Torgerson and Doucette are the first battle back there for 5th.
And we also saw Tracy Powers maybe catch the wall off the turn. At the very back of this field, Chris, is our point leader. And I mean, not at the very back like he's in the 20s. He is off the back in 43rd position. Bobby Terrell, who has dropped all the way back. And my goodness, that car does not look...
No, it doesn't, and that's something strange to see out of that number 5 machine. But he is one of the few that are locked into the playoffs.
Wrecking right in front of him, and that's no caution yet. Now the caution's out. Looks like Brad Patterson might have been involved. He's at least the driver backwards on the track, and a very confusing first few laps here already. Let's see what happened to Brad. So they're 3 wide into the turn. Speer lets him go. Oh, it's something in front of him. Vrooman was sideways and hits Brad Patterson right in the door. But let's see how Steven Vrooman got loose at the beginning of this race. Here in that tricky turn number 3. And so here he is. Oh, it's somewhere up ahead of him. That looked like Mike Watts. It is Mike Watts. So Mike Watts caused Steven Vrooman to get loose, and then that caused Vrooman to get into Patterson. Looks like some other contact there a little bit deeper back. But Chris, we get a second to catch our breath after a very frantic first few laps here at Pocono.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a mix-up there. And, man, just the amount of things that happened right there coming to the line made it all real difficult coming out of there. I mean, you're completely wide open through that corner.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Chris. And what a start to the race. Chuck Sweeting, our pole setter, connection issue, I should say. And I don't know if he's returned to the track. It does appear like he is back out there. I do not think he lost a lap, but he lost 40 positions. Jeff Bratton also had something happen to him at the beginning of this race. And let's take a look and see if anything happened to him.
Lucky break there for the 75 machine, as since he did hop in right at the time of the caution, he didn't lose a lap. But man, Jared, that is not something that you ever wish on anyone, especially when you're making your debut.
No, you're exactly right. Nothing happened to Jeff Bratton. Just he elected to pit on the pace lap there. So, but yeah, very interesting race. But right now, I want to bring attention to a special car out there tonight. For those of you that watch the broadcast, you know Bernard Persson, our defending 2020C champion. Usually runs, I think he's been running a Rowdy Energy car in that number 8. But tonight he is racing for someone special. He's racing for a young girl that's been battling cancer. And, you know, we just want to send our thoughts and prayers out to her and her family. And Bernard Persson out there doing his part, supporting it. And my goodness, childhood cancer is so heartbreaking, Chris, and it's good to see that, you know, we can get that message out there.
Absolutely. It's a difficult thing, but man, congrats to Bernard Persson for putting that on his car, and our thoughts and prayers go out to that young lady.
And if you see the back of it, of that car, it says, "We are always thinking of you," and I can tell you for sure that we are, all of us at Full Throttle TV, Full Throttle Sim Racing, are all sending our thoughts and prayers to that young girl. And I think Bernard, I talked to him today earlier on the phone, and he said that they might be watching out there. So shout out to you guys, and stay strong, and definitely keep you in our thoughts and prayers. But Chris, we did have some takers on pit road. It looks like everybody from Jeff Bratton and back all pitted. So Zach McDaniel, the lead off that pits, with a pit stop there. Looks like no tires. Looks like it's just some fuel. Are these guys trying to stretch their fuel, make it on one stop here tonight? Or 2 stops, I should say?
I don't think that they're going to be attempting it at the moment, but man, why not try? I mean, you know, everyone here has got to do something different to win this race. Why not give it a try?
Zach McDaniel there. Terry Cooper also pitted. Casey McMullen pitted. And Casey McMullen's a driver that always kind of gets his strategy going early in the race. Bobby Terrell pitted, but I don't see anything that happened to Bobby Terrell that caused him to drop back, Chris. So we'll have to keep an eye on that 5 car, but he did not look like that car was handling the way he wanted it to. Then we got Adam Newton. Obviously, some of the drivers that are involved in the wreck: Brad Patterson, Stephen Vrooman, Jason Speer, all on pit road with some damage repairs. We are about
actually,
ready.
Jared, I went back to look at it, and it looks like Bobby Turrell actually did not take the start.
There you go. So the driver that qualified, I believe, third, elected, or second. No, he qualified second, so he elected not to grid up or miss the grid. And I think there was a couple things that may have led to that confusion. But regardless, Bobby Turrell is back out there, and we'll have to watch him because we know he's not going to stay out back for very long. But we have long pace laps here at Pocono Raceway. But coming into this race, we've raced here 5 times in the past here at Full Throttle Sim Racing. And Chris, you look at it, Casey McMullen, Sherwood Williford, and Bernard Persson are the only 3 active winners at this track. And none of those guys have won a race this year.
No, they haven't. They've all done well as far as points go, but none of them have their victory sealed for this series yet. And you know that every one of them are dying to get those bonus points that come with a win.
There we go. We got Doyle Lawrence out there cheering on Jeff Winter, Jeff Chandler. Those guys running with Ryko Motorsports. That's a setup shop, I believe. So they're going to be on board with the newly named Frontline Esports. This team used to be called RPM Motorsports. Now it's Frontline Esports. Jeff Chandler and Jeff Winter, Doyle Lawrence out there rooting him on as we are about ready to get going here again in Pocono. Green flag is out. Very quick green flags here. And Randy McCanny and Bernard Persson will lead him down the longest straight in NASCAR.
Yeah, it looked like Randy McCanny got a great jump on the start, but then Bernard Persson on that outside line was able to pull even with him, but it looks like he's going to clear him going into 1.
All good through the back of the pack, but Randy McCanny pushing forward, and that's going to open the door for Jeff Chandler to move to second. Jeff Chandler, he is a guy that's needing every race to go his way to get in the top 25 in points, and what better way to start that out than trying to get the lead here as he's going in the tunnel turn. It's 2x2 behind him. Tim Bills, Torgerson battling for about 8th place. Down the short chute into the flat 3-degree banked turn number 3, and everybody kind of sorting themselves out now, Chris, and might be getting in a rhythm a little bit.
Yeah, with this racetrack being so big, that's what these guys up front are wanting to do. But back behind them, not the case. You got Wayne Grossi on the outside with Ralph Nolan Jr. underneath him. Right behind them, Jeff Winter as well.
Jeff Winter all in this group. Ralph Nolan. And Chris, you know, I'm looking at some of these drivers. We got about 3 different lines through turn 1. Tracy Powers well up the racetrack, getting a great run down the long pond straightaway there. And Wayne Grossi was kind of in the middle. Jeff Winter taking a more traditional line.
Yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing about it is that no one line through those corners is really better than the other, especially at the early part of this race, as everyone has grip everywhere with these fresh tires.
Continuing to battle back here, Tracy Powers on your screen currently. And Chris, you know, you look at some of these drivers. We only have 10 races. This is the 10th race. So after tonight, 9 races to go. What can these guys do to get themselves in the playoffs when you look back here at guys like Wayne Grossi and Tracy Powers?
Well, the easy thing to do is to win and then be consistent throughout the rest of these races. Top 5s are in short supply, but that's what these guys are going to need to be able to be in the championship race here at the end.
All right, man. Caution is out. Caution is out.
Oh, and we've got another caution.
It looks like Bobby Turrell is involved. That was a very late delay on our end. And we got several drivers. Oh, the 12, Gary Griffith, heavy impact. That yellow flag did not come across on our technology. We're on board Bobby Turrell. TJ Bartell up the outside. Look ahead. This is going to happen on the straightaway. Oh, somebody clips the fencing. That looked like Sherwood Williford, who got up into the wall, and let's see if he had help. But John Held's involved. Gary Griffith involved. Let's see what happened here and see if we can get a better angle on exactly what may have occurred here. So Sherwood Williford up the track here. John Held right in front of him. Oh, and John Held, I think, thought he was clear. I think that's exactly what happened, I believe. Let's bring in our drone camera and see if we can get a better angle of this accident here. So here we go. Watch the 10 car down here right in front of Richie Coy, right behind Jason Martin. He's going to get 3 wide here. Thinks he's clear, and the 33 kind of sticks his nose in there, but he wasn't clear. Comes down, heavy impact for the 12. I think Brody Hanna and Kevin Rupert both got pieces. Chad Lang and Terry Cooper with some damage as well. Chris, that's a lot of big names already involved in a big wreck.
It certainly is, and man, just even though this track is so big, it does not matter. When something like that happens, Jared, you're going too fast really to check up and slow down all the way, and you see just how many drivers this thing collects. And
our unofficial count, we got Bobby Terrell, Greg Holt, James Torrey, who got a piece of it, Brian Helm, Case McMullen got a piece, Chuck Sweeting, Jason Speer, Andrew Poliski, Adam Newton, and Chad Lang, all with a piece of that action, and also Bobby Terrell on the pits with significant damage. And we got some drivers going down pit road. Strategy is being split. We have Jeff Chandler electing to stay out, but Dean Doucette from 5th place, he is going to lead him in, and Kurt Davidson from 6th place is going to follow him in along with Lane Allen, Chris.
Absolutely, and you mentioned it at the beginning of the race that you could make it 35 laps around here. Well, Jared, that means 70 laps, and we're on lap 11. You just made it a 2-stop race from here.
And now these guys are guys we're going to have to watch as the race goes on. The top 19, except for McDaniel, Vrooman, and Helm, have not pitted yet. Lane Allen missed his pit, so apologies. So the top 15 have not pitted. So I expect Lane Allen to probably go back down pit road. But, man, we got some drivers down here, and their pit times are long. Mike Watts back out on the track. 4 minutes of repairs for that machine. Jeff Bratton has retired from damage. Gary Griffith, significant damage on that 12 machine. Don't know if he'll be able to get out. Same with John Held. And, Chris, you look at some of these other drivers. Chad Lang, just getting that car going. Sherwood Williford, over a minute of damage. As you saw him, he's down and away. But these guys, I don't think Sherwood Williford's going to be looking for a repeat win tonight.
Absolutely not, with the damage to that 33 machine. Just not the night that he was looking to have at a track that he's known to be good at.
That's difficult, but we're going to re-rack him, Chris, and we're 11 laps in, and this is what happens at Pocono. A lot of times you'll either have a nice green flag run, and then you'll have one caution, and then everything just falls apart, or the beginning's kind of rough, and then everything starts off or ends good as the race goes on. And I think a lot of these guys just trying to get used to everything going on in this race. But right now, it's no surprise. Jeff Chandler, he's looking for the most wins on the season. He already has it right now by 1, but he would love to add a 4th win to his mantle this year and really push himself into that playoff race. Bernard Person looking for his first win, racing for a cause. He's on the outside. We got McCanny and Tim Bills, the Dover winner, in row number 2. Dale Nearad and Troy Torgerson. Powers, Grossi, Jeff Winter, and Ralph Nolan, your top 10, 12 laps into Pocono.
We talked earlier about Bobby Terrell and that 5 machine electing to start the race from pit road. Well, I don't know if he elected to or not, but that's where he started the race, and that's what put him back there in that mess, Jared, and that became a costly mistake or incident for him.
And he is our point leader coming in by 52 points over Richie Coy, so he will remain the point leader no matter what happens tonight. So he will still be the point leader no matter what, but you like to have that buffer. Richie Coy in 14th, Casey Mullen 3rd place in points, also a defending winner. He did get a little damage, but Chris, I was looking over that 71 machine. I don't see too much on there, so I think he will be okay.
Yeah, from my end, it looks like it's a pretty clean machine. Got a little bit of wrinkle on the rear end of it and on the left quarter panel, but it seems like overall his machine's pretty clean compared to some of the others.
Only one opportunity at Pocono this year and last year. We don't do the doubleheader like NASCAR does, so this is it for these drivers to get a win here at the Tricky Triangle. Pace car is off, or almost off. Apologies. I was a little bit premature there, but
now the pace car is off track, and we're back green here, Jared.
Thanks, Chris. You got me going there, and Jeff Chandler is going to lead him down into turn one. See if these guys can be a little bit more consistent through the first couple laps here.
Side by side, they head into one, but Jeff Chandler is going to pull away, and he's bringing with him Randy McCanny in that 27.
Randy McCanny, who is part of Take-Two Motorsports, elected to leave that team as that team folded, and is running by himself now, part of his own team. But man, Chris, you're looking back here, Rachel Hunt with her brand new team in the 16 Reese's machine. We're used to seeing her in a purple and white machine, in a totally different looking machine, but there is 3 wide action back here around 10th place. Jeff Winter in that group. Gil Gock in that group. Teammates with Chuck Sweeting. Brain Grassi, Ralph Nolan, Chris. These guys are battling hard through that flat, tricky turn number 3.
They certainly are, and no one's giving an inch either, Jared. There's cars that were literally touching back farther in the pack.
Yeah, down this straightaway, Brody Hanna giving Kurt Davidson a little bit of shove. I think that 23 car might have gotten very lucky. I don't think he got any damage out of that wreck earlier and is able to keep going. Kurt Davidson, one of the drivers that pitted on that pit stop. Same with Brody Hanna, but you look up here, McCanny, but right now it's all Jeff Chandler, but he's got that number 8, the defending champion, racing for a cause, racing for a little girl that was diagnosed for cancer, in second place all over the back bumper. But now Tim Bills with a great run through the tunnel turn. Can he make a move?
He certainly can. He got a good advantage there on Person, who got a little bit sideways in the tunnel turn, just trying to gas it back up a little bit harder than Tim Bills and Jeff Chandler, and it didn't work out for him as Bills is now all over his bumper.
Jeff Chandler taking what I would call the IndyCar line, trying to break the draft down the front straightaway, and it actually worked for him. I think he pulled out a little bit as Bernard Person. He's got a little bit of a chain reaction behind him, with Bills, McCanny, and Torgerson all kind of having to let off a little bit. They're going to fan out their turn 1. And Terry Cooper, that car has, the engine has let go. He has had to pull that car off thanks to that damage sustained in the last wreck.
Rough moment for him as Chandler has now pulled away a little bit. He's got about almost a 0.4 of a second lead over Bernard Person in that 8 machine. Kind of at this point, he's got to start reeling him back in, Jared.
Right now, Jeff Chandler, we know his work schedule makes him miss some races every now and then. Can't commit to that full schedule, but my goodness, he wants to get in the playoffs and where he can maybe make some adjustments to that schedule to be able to run. But right now, the battle is all behind Tim Bills. But Bernard Person got a great run off turn 3, and he's closed that gap down, Chris.
He certainly did. He got a great run coming out of 3, but it looks like he's going to lose it all coming out of 1, Jared.
So turn 1 could be the struggle point for the Speer Motorsport Toyota tonight, but they have opened up a gap on Tim Bills, and that's a gaggle right there, folks. If you got the the full throttle bingo card out, gaggle already 15 laps in. Tim Bills all the way back to Ralph Nolan Jr.
And these guys back here in this the back half of the top 10, they're racing pretty hard. Nolan has the 85 of Gil Glock all over his back bumper. They were side by side a couple laps ago.
And Chris, I wanted to zoom in here on a guy that made that pit stop on lap 10. Dean Doucette has moved his way from restarting in 21st position. He is up to 14th as he's going to look underneath Richie Coy into turn 1. Fresh tires obviously are an advantage, but he has that fuel in hand. I just can't believe that 15 drivers elected not to pit.
I can't either, Jared. They had an opportunity to make this a one more stop race, and they elected not to. They must be thinking that tires are going to matter more than I would, Jared.
And they do have 4 sets in the pit. So tire wear won't be necessarily an issue unless we have a lot of cautions here. Rachel Hunt there in her debut ride in 15th. Zach McDaniel, another driver that pitted and topped off fuel, he's up to 16th. Brody Hanna's moved his way from dead last. He had a penalty. He's moved his way from 43rd on the grid to 17th. Vrooman, Helm, and Kurt Davidson, another driver that pitted, Chris. And Kurt Davidson, the 41, he just can't go forward right now.
Well, and Wayne Grossi in that 7 machine got completely sideways coming through the tunnel turn, and he has lost 6 positions in 1 lap, Jared. That's how much that speed here matters in keeping your foot in the throttle, and he had a lift for just a moment, and now all of these guys have gotten around him, and it's right in front of him. The 42 of Zach McDaniel gets in the wall.
McDaniel, we saw this happen in the truck race on Wednesday night. McDaniel touched the wall a couple times, as did 10 Bills. And may have ruined their nights overall. But my goodness, we're trying to get a replay on that Wayne Grossi incident. But Wayne Grossi got very loose out of the corner. Let's take a look here and see what happened to Mr. Wayne Grossi. And you'll see him in front of here. He's got the 9 car of Jason Martin all over him. And he goes through the tunnel turn, everything looking good. And he swings it out just a little bit wide there. And he's going to enter on the bottom of turn 3, Chris. And that's where the problem ensued. He gets down there, and the car, he's just a little bit underpowered. And when he got under the power, that's when everybody got around him. Back up front, it's Chandler, Person, Bills, McCanny, Torgerson, Nearhead. If you're looking at the screen and you're wondering why these drivers have gray, that means that they have won a race. Most of these drivers are pretty much locked in, but Jeff Chandler is not one of those drivers. He is outside the top 25 in points with 3 wins, but that newly Ryko sponsored machine with a Bruzy on the hood is leading the way, but he's not been able to really establish himself yet, Chris.
No, he hasn't. It's been the gap between him and second place has roughly been around 3/10. Every so often, Person will get up to where it's just under 2/10, but never able to break that from that. As soon as he gets close enough, it's like Chandler reaches up and grabs another gear and is able to pull it away, especially coming out of turn 3, where that 31 car just looks really strong, Jared.
You're exactly right. We got Steve Loomis out there watching. He's the owner of Blackwater Motorsports, and he is happy to have Rachel Hunt on the team. Doyle Lawrence out there commenting that it's weird to see Rachel Hunt in something that isn't pink and white, and I agree, it's very weird, but she's doing a good job in her debut race for Faster Motorsports, a subsidiary of Blackwater Motorsports. And right now, Rachel Hunt getting under pressure from Zach McDaniel. That's the only battle on the track right now in the top 15.
It certainly is. McDaniel is going to make quick work of the 16 going through this turn here. And man, tunnel turn is incredibly difficult to get through to begin with. When you go side by side, it's even that much harder. And excuse me, that was turn 3.
Yeah, it was. And I think it started in the tunnel turn. Back a little bit further, Brody Hanna, Kurt Davidson, Brian Helm, TJ Bartel, last week's winner, up 11 spots in 20th. Kevin Rupert, he must not have gotten too much damage out of that wreck. Might have just gotten a little bit, but that 1 car moving forward with Vrooman and Brad Patterson, who are involved in that first wreck, also up there moving forward. But Chris, now we've gone into kind of a green flag look to this race.
Yeah, and a few guys in this pack are going to be wanting this to go green the rest of the way. Those drivers are the ones that have already pitted on lap 10. They can make it the rest of the way on 1 stop, Jared. Now everyone else, those top 15 that elected to stay out, they're going to have to stop for 2 times.
You see some drivers back here toward the back. Jason Speer and Chuck Sweeting with some damage. A little bit off pace there. Mike Watts a lap down. So is Bobby Terrell. So a tough night for our points leader. Terry Cooper Jr., Gary Griffith, and Jeff Bratton, along with John Held, all currently shown as in the garage or out of the race right now. But it's right now all Jeff Chandler, and he is not. Bernard Person hasn't let him get away from this thing yet.
No, he hasn't. It's now right out of 0.4 of a second lead, but every so often, I mean, and as soon as I say that, it breaks down to a 0.29. So these guys are not getting away from one another. It's kind of an advantage at this track because with this package that iRacing has, really it kind of drafts very much like a super speedway in the regard that you can. It's really hard to get away from the pack, and I think that's what we're seeing here from the 31.
Excuse me there. And yeah, exactly right, Chris. This is the high downforce package being ran here. So that means is 550 horsepower and significantly bigger rear spoiler, lower front pan, all that stuff that increases the downforce. But leads to some exciting drafting, and we saw some exciting racing in the real stuff over the weekend. And right now, the top 5 drivers haven't really separated too much from the start of this race.
No, they haven't, and it's kind of interesting to see. We talked about it earlier that Jeff Chandler was getting a really good run coming out of 3. Well, the last 2 laps, it was dead even coming out of 3 for both of them. So as this run is going on, Person has started to find a little bit of speed in that 3rd corner.
Now, let's take a look at the sector times right now, and let's between Bernard Person and Jeff Chandler, they're going to come to the line. Person gained 0.05 of a second, but he lost an entire 10th in Sector 2. So Person didn't exactly do good in that second half of the track right there, Chris.
No, he didn't, and that's something that we'll have to keep an eye on the rest of the race, as these guys are really learning this track and how to make the most out of it.
And for those of you that there may be a glean eye there on that camera shot, that's Bobby Terrell going through the tunnel turn. So he is going to be a driver that's going to be heading toward being another lap down in a very tough night for our point leader here here at Pocono. But right now it is Chandler, Person, McCanny, Torgerson. Tim Bills was in the top 3, but Chris, he's under intense pressure from that number 95 of Ralph Nolan Jr. and Tracy Powers as well.
Yeah, he's fell back the last couple of laps, and that's what's made this happen. As you see, a strong move by Tracy Powers. Is there 3 wide? Oh, no, contact.
Dean Doucette had a huge run. He made contact with Ralph Nolan Jr. Everybody gets it going, but my goodness, that 29 car, he wasn't going to slow down his run, and almost a big accident there.
Yeah, that was definitely a huge relief that these guys were able to make it through there, but they're not quite done yet, as the 45 is getting ran all the way up the track by Dean Doucette.
Dean Doucette using all of those tires up right now, and he is all over. And Chris, I have to be honest, I haven't seen this kind of aggression from Dean Doucette in a very long time, but he made a move, and he is moving to the front, and might have got a little contact, might have roughed up some few feathers, but he is up to 8th place now. Behind him, Jason Martin had to slow up just a little bit for Dale Nearad trying to pass on the outside, but everything kosher there. But they're 3 wide through the middle of turn 3. Dean Doucette was using Jeff Winter up through that corner. Still 3 wide as Jason Martin's down pit road.
Yeah, you caught it. Jason Martin electing to peel off a pit road, off to pit road there. And man, Dean Doucette completely aggressive in that last corner, trying to make 8 wheels go through the corner a little bit better than 4.
My goodness. And we'll bring up the race analysis down there in the bottom right again. Pit window is from right now until lap 35 for those drivers that did not pit under those cautions. So no surprise that Jason Martin is on pit road. But Dean Doucette, my goodness, he's got a good car. But Chris, he doesn't. You got to be tempered a little bit here and not use your stuff up.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a huge little thing that you got to keep a track of here. You don't want to injure these cars too much because it's this high downforce package. You need the fenders to stay on it just to be fast.
My goodness, Jeff Winter and Dean Doucette, though, great battling. As they went through that corner. Now, Tim Bills is going to play the IndyCar line down the straightaway. Tracy Powers is going to have to go to the outside. Jeff Winter's going to duck inside. 3 wide through turn 1. Contact between the 30 and the 77. 77 shoved up out of the groove.
Wow. Amazing that there was not a wreck right there, Jared. And we've got our 3rd caution, and it's not from that.
It is Adam Newton and Rob Shoemaker, it looks like. Yes, Rob Shoemaker rolling backwards with definitely a blown engine in that 66 machine. Newton is missing the rear clip on that machine. Let's see what happened to the 20 and the 66. So they're coming down the front straightaway. And this is never good when you see an accident right here. So Newton kind of moves down just a little bit. Nothing bad yet. Oh yeah, he might have. I think he didn't realize Shoemaker was going to make a move. And he was going to make a move on the driver in front of him. See if we can take a look from our drone cam here and take a look and see if we can get a better angle on this accident. So Shoemaker's looking on the inside of Newton, Newton's just kind of moving down. Shoemaker, looks like I think they both just kind of came together. It's really difficult to tell, but that's going to end the night most likely for the 66 of Rob Shoemaker, and heavy damage for the 20. And Chris, that comes right in the middle of the pit window.
It's going to throw everything to chance here, and I believe we're going to see those top 15 that stayed out on that initial caution. They're going to make their way to pit road here for sure, Jared.
Well, the good thing, for Jason Martin, he got his service done. And Pocono is one of the few oval tracks we race at where you won't lose a lap if you have just regular service. So you can't repair damage or go overboard, but you most likely will not lose a lap. So Jason Martin could inherit this lead depending on what these guys do. But Chris, these guys that pitted on like 10 or 5, do you think they're going to come in too?
It depends on how committed they're going to be for their strategy. If they're going to try to go with the strategy with just making one more stop on the race, then no. But at this point, I think a lot of them are going to abandon that idea, and we see it here. It looks like the top 10 at least are coming to pit road.
Yep, it looks like it. And let's circle all the way back. Brody Hanna back there. Everybody's coming in, including Dean Doucette, who pitted on lap 10. This might turn the lead over to Jason Martin, Bill Benedict. My goodness, everybody's coming in, Chris. Mike Watts stays out, but he's a lap down. And Jason Martin will stay out. So I believe Jason Martin, by coming in right before that caution, I think he's going to inherit this lead.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It looks like the 9 is going to get the lucky break and is going to end up leading this field after hitting pit road right before the caution.
And here we go. Jeff Chandler is going to win the race off pit road. Person, McCanny, Torgerson, Dale Nearad with a great stop, moves up to 5th just ahead of Jeff Winter. Doucette, who is slowing, did he get a penalty? I'm not sure. We'll have to check. And then Tracy Powers, Gil Gawk, and Richie Coy, your top 10. Great stop by some of those drivers, but the best one was by far Jeff Chandler under this pit. I mean, he had the best pit lane time of any of the drivers.
Yeah, and iRacing, it isn't about your crew. It's about how you get on and off of pit road and into your stall, and Jeff Chandler was the quickest one out of all of them.
See some more drivers filtering off pit road. Zach McDaniel, Steven Vrooman, all filtering off pit road. But that is 3 cautions already, Chris. Nothing major yet, but just, guys racing hard right now.
They certainly are, and unfortunately for our points leader, he was actually in the position where he was going to get his lap back, and then Jason Martin stayed out and was not able to take advantage of a waiver round. He will still be 1 lap down.
Tough break for Bobby Terrell, who is about to lose another lap if that caution didn't come out. He is not going to pit, so the 5 car going to stay out there. But Jeff Chandler, not our race leader. It is Jason Martin leading here tonight in that number 9 U.S. Army machine for Blackwater Motorsports, doing a great job. And the owner of that team, Steve Loomis, said Rachel Hunt's paint is still in the paint shop. So expect a new look for Rachel Hunt, maybe as soon as next week at Road America for that 16 driver. Also, it's the first time I've ever seen her outside of a Ford or a Toyota. So I've never seen her in a Chevy, but hey, we all got to make some changes in life. But Jeff Chandler is going to have a new change, Chris. He's going to have to line up on the outside.
He certainly is. And, he's going to have a little bit fresher tires than Jason Martin, who was actually caught up in a little bit of an incident right before he hit pit road. And I think that was kind of the reason why he elected to pit. But Jeff Chandler is going to have some help from those behind him to be able to get back up into the lead.
So let's bring it down for you guys here and take a look at our top group of people. We have Jason Martin leading it down. Jeff Chandler, McCanny, Person, Nearad, your top 5. Torgerson, Winter, Doucette, Powers, Gawk, your top 10. Then we have Coy, Hanna, Grossi, Davidson, Rachel Hunt, your top 15. Rupert, Bartel, McMullen, Holt, and Brad Patterson round out your top 20. Then we look at Lane Allen, Polisky, Lang, Solari, Kenneth Schultz, James Torrey, your top 25. Sweeting has made his way up to 27th. Speer, Nolan, who's dropped after some contact. Did not have a great pit stop at all in that number 95. He's dropped to 29th, just ahead of Brian Helm, as we are about ready to go back green. And that's your top 30.
Jason Martin will lead these guys back to the green flag here. His first time being up this high, and Jeff Chandler on his outside. This is kind of a new territory for him.
Green flag back out, and let's see what Martin can do as they head down the longest straightaway in NASCAR. Jeff Chandler gets the run down the straightaway.
He gets the run going into turn 1 on the outside. Will he be able to clear the number 9? And he does easily. Randy McCanny is going to be even with the 9 machine of Martin throughout 1, and coming out of 1, it looks like they're still dead even.
2 by 2 as far deep as you can see. Chandler's cleared. McCanny's clear. Can Dale Nearad, the youngster out of Iowa, clear him? Yes, he can. So Jason Martin, just 2-lap newer tires and really just 1 lap at full speed. And already you can see the differences. Oh, my goodness. Dean Doucette was looking toward the inside wall. How'd he hold on to that number 29 machine?
Great driving there by Dean Doucette in that 29 machine, and great driving by everyone else behind him, as everyone had to check up to prevent a wreck. And man, they're battling hard behind him.
Bernard Person had a bad pit stop, the slowest among our leaders. He lost 6 positions on pit road. Jeff Winter nearly had a little bit of help with Gil Gock on his back bumper. And Chris, we jump on board Richie Coy, and oh my goodness, Tracy Powers shoved it down the inside.
He certainly did, and if you saw in front of them there, Dean Doucette, not Dean Doucette, that was Bernard Person, who had a little bit of help into the corner there as well.
My goodness, these guys, these restarts with this high downforce package are intense, and these guys are giving it everything. As right now, oh my goodness, they're still loose off the corner. Behind them, Powers and Gil Gock battling with Coy involved as well.
Powers trying to make that inside work, coming through the corner there as they're dead even, and wow, that was close between those guys, as they looked like there was no room for the number 19 Richie Coy to get it behind Tracy Powers, and man, they were as close as you could get without touching.
Kurt Davidson, Rachel Hunt on the back of this group. The separation begins back here with TJ Bartel. He has moved up to 15th position, bringing Casey McMullen along with him. So that 71 car, our third place points man, a winner here, a defending winner at this track. He has moved himself back up into the contention as they're working next to Greg Holt. There's kind of a separation in the pack now. The first 15 in one, the next 15 in another.
And you would not know it looking at TJ Bartel and Greg Holt. They are racing side by side. These guys are acting as though it is for P1.
And they've kind of caught back up to Kurt Davidson as well, even though they've been battling. But up front, Jeff Chandler opening up what, if you can believe, a half a second lead is our biggest lead of the night. Dale Nearad has moved to second place, but now Randy McCanny looks inside. Dean Doucette, where is he going to go? He's going to go to the high side through turn 1.
Yeah, everyone's electing to use a little bit different lane here, and that outside's working a little bit better for Dean Doucette. Seems to not get that number 29 machine quite so loose when he's up there in that groove, Jared.
His teammate, Jason Martin, right behind him in 5th. Bernard Person, who ran second most of that early run, he's back to 6th place, still trying to move forward, as Doucette's going to look on, got a little loose off turn 2, and is going to open the door for Martin.
Yeah, he got way loose. He was looking at the inside apron again, and that car is just wicked loose. He's still getting loose coming out of 3.
Huge driving right now by these drivers. We got a shout out for Troy Torgeson's paint. Really liking that navy paint. I think it's very similar to a paint that Brad Keselowski ran back in his Grand National days or Nationwide days or whatever the heck that series is called back then, but very similar to that, if not the same. Torgeson up in 7th, just ahead of Jeff Winter. There's a little bit of a gap now established as Richie Coy has finally cleared Tracy Powers, and he's going to look forward to catching up to Jeff Winter now.
Yeah, these guys have all got a little bit of separation. The top 7 have broken away. The top 8 have broken away just a little bit from those guys behind them, and it's almost about a second difference between those guys.
Right at a second right now. And up front, Jeff Chandler continuing to lead, but that straightaway, it's kind of the equalizer right now, Chris. It seems like as Dale Nearad's able to close back up, but now he's got Dean Doucette all over the back. That 29 car has been aggressive, and Nearad throws a block.
Yeah, you can see that Doucette had to actually hit the brakes there, lost a little bit of momentum. It actually ended up helping him on the corner exit, though, Jared.
My goodness, there is some aggressive and intense racing. And Chris, is that a product of the track, or is it a product that these guys know there's only 10 races to go to get wins, to get points before the playoff starts? Does that increase that, ratchet up that intensity a little bit?
Yeah, of course. As soon as we get closer to the playoffs, every single race is going to make that intensity go up just that much more, Jared. These guys, none of them want to go into the playoffs without a win, and you can see just how hard they're willing to fight for it. Also, this high downforce package makes it incredibly hard to pass without having a little bit of help. And I think that's kind of a little bit of part of it. That's why we're so aggressive so early on in the run. I mean, we see Dean Doucette has been completely sideways off of corners, trying to push that car as hard as he possibly can.
Well, there's only 2 drivers in the top 10 that have not won yet this year. One is the defending champion, Bernard Persson. The other one is that 9 machine of Jason Martin, who, after losing the lead, has kind of settled into 5th place. As you see back behind there, Bernard Persson trying to look on in the inside of Torgerson, elects against it. But everybody else in the top 10 has won, Chris, but they still get playoff points for each win. 3 points that they get to carry into the playoffs and through each round they succeed in for every win they have. Dean Doucette tried to make a move on Dale Nearad, and he backfired, and now McKinney is looking underneath.
Yeah, McKinney's going to look underneath, but that outside line there by Dean Doucette's going to have the power coming off the corner. And look at the run that number 29 gets on the 03.
And all of them are trying to break the draft, playing that IndyCar line down the front straightaway here at Pocono, as Dean Doucette's going to look again on Dale Nearad. McKinney is in there as well.
These guys are pushing as hard as they can, and you can see it there as Dean Doucette is again sideways coming out of the corner, Jared.
And Chris, I have to wonder, all that sideways movement that car is doing, is that going to burn off that right rear tire and make this thing handle very badly as this run goes on?
Absolutely it will. And that's going to be a pain in the butt as we go along. You know, usually you want to set your car up to be sideways, be loose at the beginning of the run. That's because you want it to be better at the end of the run. But for here, Dean Doucette, he's just driving that car so hard. I think he's going to get the run, though, going into 1 this time.
This has allowed Jeff Chandler to kind of open up the gap. It's about a half a second now, which is the largest lead of the race. Nearad's able to close back down a little bit on the straightaway, but with them battling as hard as they are, they kind of lose it in the turns. But they've settled out right now as we jump on board Bernard Persson, who has lost touch with this top 5 group. Jason Martin, now those tires might be starting to play a little bit of a factor. As see that 9 car just not able to get the same speed through the tunnel turn, and he has now got Jeff Winter, Richie Coy, and Brody Hanna all over the back of him. Coy is going to look underneath Jeff Winter going into the turn number 3.
Man, and Jeff Chandler has gained about 6/10 just in this lap alone, and the reason being, Dean Doucette and Dale Nearad are side by side.
And they clear it. Dale Nearad had to give up that position, and Dale Nearad bump drafting down the straightaway on Dean Doucette. You don't see that at Pocono. My goodness. And now Randy McKay is going to look underneath the 03.
Yeah, these guys now are trying to use that draft to their advantage, and so they can catch back up to your leader. As wow, Randy McKinney really aggressive into that corner, going to move Dale Nearad up the track, and he's easily going to get around him.
And he's got some help from maybe an affiliated driver. Troy Torgerson going to push that Ford through. So the 2 Fords moving forward. So we have Ford, Chevy, Ford, Toyota, your top 5. And that's allowed Bernard Persson and Jason Martin to catch back up to this group. And they were side by side through the tunnel turn. That usually doesn't turn out good for anybody. But Persson now has the 9 car all over his back bumper, bringing Coy and Winter with him. My goodness.
Yeah, these guys are doing some really aggressive driving here, and kudos to them, as this is the hardest racing we've seen here tonight, and they're bump drafting down the straightaways here, Jared. This is incredible.
Hannah shoves Coy, Bass, Winter. Winter's going to lose out. Maybe Tracy Powers can get around him. We are halfway through this race, and my goodness, I feel like it's flown. Even though we've had 3 cautions, these guys have been on it tonight. Jeff Chandler is eking out just a little bit of a lead. We're not forgetting about him up there. It is up to, it looks like half a second, but Dean Doucette is closing that gap down ever so slightly.
That he is, and Jeff Chandler is doing whatever he can to get in a total different zip code from these guys. But he's out there all alone, Jared. He doesn't have any drafting help from anyone behind him, and that's why we're going to see Dean Doucette and Randy McKinney eventually be able to, I think, catch back up to him because he's all on that island by himself.
Well, that sector, that lap actually helped him a lot. He gained an entire 10th in that lap on Dean Doucette. Dean Doucette was down to about a half a second, and now it's gone up to 1.2 now, as Dean Doucette just not getting the run through turn 1 that it looks like the Jeff Chandler is getting right now. Let's see what this sector time is. So it should be coming up here in just a second here. Sector 1, Dean Doucette, it's even, but he's losing time 0.03 of a second slower than Jeff Chandler. So, Chris, maybe Dean Doucette might have used the stuff up.
Possibly. We talked about it being sideways all that long time coming out of the corner. Maybe that's starting to hurt that number 29 machine. And actually, looking back, Randy McKinney is actually running lap times faster than him now.
And last lap, let's bring that up here on the top of your screen there. Last lap time, and you'll see it there as we go through. But Randy McKinney has ran the fastest lap, or no, Troy Torgerson actually ran the fastest lap at a 54.88. He is the fastest driver on the field, on the track tonight, in 4th place right now. And then right behind him, Dale Nearad. Only the top 5, though, in the 54-second range. Everybody else in the 55s or slower. Bring everybody up to speed here as we are just past halfway. We had 43 cars start the event. We had 46 drivers attempt the race, so 3 drivers had to go home. Unfortunately, it was the new team of K2B Motorsports and Randall Ballard that ended up not making the event here tonight. But my goodness, Chris, they are still battling up front as we are now 45 laps in the race. And don't forget, because that pit stop where that caution came out, fuel mileage is back on the table.
It certainly is. And man, you mentioned it, they're still battling as hard as they possibly can. These guys really, we got a caution as Tony Solari has crashed. Tony
Solari in the 74 machine. He has spun on the front straightaway. That's a very weird spot. Did he have help? Let's take a look and see what happened to the 74 machine. So he's alongside Brian Helm. He's on the outside of Brian Helm. And they're battling pretty heavy back here. And going down the straightaway, and he's Brian Helm. Yeah, Brian Helm, I think, thought he could slide up in there, and there was no room, and just clips the 74 car, spins him around. We've seen that happen a couple times tonight.
Yeah, these guys here being aggressive with that side draft, and that was kind of what we saw right there as Brian Helm just got into Tony and sent him around on the front stretch. But, man, you know what this is going to do, Jared? It's going to bunch them all back up and going to change fuel strategy here completely.
Yeah, it is. As we said before, 27 to 35 laps. They can do, 36 laps. They can do 36 laps on fuel. So right now, Chris, if they pit now, I think they can make it to the end. But my goodness, 36 laps, you really have to be managing it to get that. Otherwise, we could have some drivers that run out of fuel.
Yeah, you certainly can. And, man, you're going to see guys attempt to make it here, I would assume, Jared.
I think it's going to be very close, and I think, with the right saving, I think you can make it on fuel from here, but it's going to be pretty close.
Yeah, you're going to start to see guys that are about 3/4 throttle on the straightaways here just to try to save. You're really going to need to start letting off about 200 to 300 feet earlier than you were in this last run. So imagine the lap times here are going to be about half a second slower at least.
And we'll see what happens. But got a couple shout outs in the chat here. We got somebody shouting out Randy McKinney. That's Holly Peterman. shouting out Randy, hoping he does good tonight. And we also have Road Zombie rooting on Dale Nearad here tonight, as all the drivers are going to come down pit road, Chris.
Absolutely. Everyone wants to get that additional fuel to at least try to make that strategy work here. It's going to be a huge race off of pit road.
There you go. Everybody coming in that's on the lead lap. Looks like the first one staying out is Rob Shoemaker and Bobby Terrell, but I believe they're both laps down. And I think they would be wise to maybe take a wave round and see if they can get themselves back on the lead lap. Everybody on pit road. Zach McDaniel actually made a pit stop just before this caution, and he was able to stay out here, Chris. And so that's another driver that's in a different position, kind of like Jason Martin was. And the race off pit road, Jeff Chandler wins it, but Troy Torgerson, what a move! He's going to get second off the pits, ahead of Dale Nearad, Randy McCanny, and even Dean Doucette, who I don't even see on my list right now. He's so far back.
Yeah, Dean Doucette had a horrible pit stop unless he was making some serious adjustments to that. And that's actually something we saw in the last pit cycle. He seemed to lose a lot of time on the pits that cycle as well. But man, that's a huge difference from where he was. Right now, it looks like I've got him scored in 22nd place.
I wonder if something happened on pit road to Dean Doucette, because he had over a minute on the pits. And it's difficult to find anything on it because it's on pit road, but we're trying to find something. But my goodness, I don't know how you would have a 10-second longer pit road time unless somebody helped you out with that.
Nope, he was way too far left in the pit stall. Had to readjust a couple of different times. That's where he lost all that time.
So there you have it. Thanks for that update, Chris. So Dean Doucette losing 10 seconds on pit road. And that when you're pitting, that is equivalent to 20 spots, as we've seen him drop from second place, chasing down Jeff Chandler, and now he's all the way back to 22nd right now.
And with 33 laps left to go, I mean, that isn't going to kill your race, but it's certainly going to make it a lot harder than it was already.
Well, Zach McDaniel, he is now leading this race. He pitted on lap 42. So kind of a Jason Martin has worked out for him, Chris, because he's been able to stay in the top 10 after running back in the 20s most of that early part of the run, or the back half of the top 15 at least. So it's worked out for him pretty well. Can Zach McDaniel, who's been running back in the 30s, can this work out for him?
Well, he's certainly going to give it a shot here. It's going to be a little bit harder. He's going to have to save a lot more fuel than everyone else around him too, Jared.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Chris. But right now, let's run down the restart order. McDaniel, Chandler, Nearad, Torgerson, McCanny, Person, Coy, Martin, Winter, and Brody Hanna, your top 10. Powers, Poliski, Vrooman, Davidson, Gock, your top 15, with Holt, Hunt, McMullen, Bartel, and Rupert in your top 20. Bills and Doucette, Lang, Allen, Helm, Speer, Grossi, Benedict, James Torrey, and Kenneth Schultz, your top 30. Sweeting is in 31st with Nolan and Newton, and we have some damaged cars further back like Solari, Patterson, etc.
Well, we saw Jeff Chandler take the lead back on the restart previously. He's going to have to do it from a whole different car this time with that 42 of Zach McDaniel on the inside. We've seen Jeff Chandler do it already once tonight. Will he use Dale Nearad behind him in that 03 to give him a good push off into one?
Zach McDaniel's been very successful in the Truck Series. Can he do something up front? And green flag straightaway, and the 31 and the 03 are chugging on the outside line.
Easily able to clear McDaniel in the 40. He's pulling Nearad with him, and man, those guys are really bumper to bumper going into one.
McDaniel will slot into third, 3 wide behind him with it look like Tracy Powers and Davidson. There's Thrill 3 wide. We got Vrooman in the middle. Winter back there as well. They are going at it right now. McMullen in the guys. I don't know if this is going to work.
3 wide in the tunnel turn is not easy to do here, but it's a couple of guys are going to give it the old try, and it looks like everyone makes it through at this point.
Some drivers being aggressive because now we are on the second half of this race. There could be some pit stops involved. There may not be pit stops involved, but we will find out as this race continues, and everybody's sliding off turn number 3 as Bernard Persson is trying to regain some time as he lost the last caution flag, and he has moved back up behind his teammate into 3rd position. So the 2 Speer Motorsport guys right there chasing down Jeff Chandler. So 3 Toyotas are now chasing down that Ford of Jeff Chandler.
And Chandler's got already a 0.4 of a second lead on Nearad and Pearson close behind. But man, that is, they're able to pull back almost a whole 10th going into the corner and then lose it going into turn 2.
And don't look now, but Richie Coy, who qualified back in 33rd position, has made his way up into 5th place. Fury Motorsports drivers have figured out something or some way to get through the pack. They are now running the highest they've all run all race. And a guy that's going backwards, Chris, is Randy Place.
Yeah, he certainly has. He was a little bit loose on the start of this run, and I think that's kind of what hurt him there. But now he's all by himself here, going to gather it back up behind Torgerson and really try to settle this car in to try to make a charge back.
Holt, Winter, and Powers 3 wide on the coming through turn number 1. They're still 3 wide down the Long Pond straightaway. Now they've settled it out. Poliski was up there as well. Poliski's not going to be able to get the car down the inside spot, but Holt gets loose and somebody's in the wall. It looks like it was Kurt Davidson and McMullen's involved. Oh my goodness, a lot of drivers involved.
Certainly a lot of drivers here, and that actually started with Jeff Winter. Got a little bit sideways coming through the corner, went up into another car, and that's what started that entire wreck, Jared.
Yeah, we just saw Davidson up against hit the wall, and now we're going to see what happened is, I don't know. There might have been every driver from about 15th back got a piece of that. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can get a better camera angle here. So here we go. So you got Jeff Winter on the inside of Kurt Davidson going through the tunnel turn, and I think one driver's coming up, one driver's coming down, and unfortunately Davidson hard in the wall. Tim Bills might have gotten through that. Rupert with some damage. Bartel with some damage. Grossi, Bill Benedict with some damage. Brian Helm with some damage. Let's see if we can get a better view of this accident. So let's get on board. I'm going to stop the replay. I don't usually like to do that, but I want to make sure we get a good angle of this accident because, my goodness, it took out so many drivers. Let's jump on board the Geezer Garage Machine of Gil Gock, and you're going to see it, Chris. Davidson on the bottom, and oh yeah, Jeff Winter did get loose just a little bit, but at the same time, both just came together. But Gil Gock, very lucky not to get involved in that wreck.
Man, what a huge wreck for a lot of drivers there, as no one could get around that melee.
My goodness, what a race, but what an accident. And I don't have every driver that was involved, but I can tell you that Kurt Davidson, Wayne Grossi, Bill Benedict, TJ Bartel, Brian Helm, all caught up in that accident, as was Casey McMullen, Kevin Rupert, Tim Bills, and a couple Wayne Grossi and Bill Benedict, all caught up in that accident to some degree. And you see them all on a lot of these drivers on pit road. Tim Bills leading them down. Front damage on the driver that was running 3rd place at one point in time in this race.
Dean Doucette may have been the most lucky driver in the field that was behind Jeff Winter at that point, Jared. He was able to make it through there without a single bit of contact, but he was the first driver to not get involved. Everyone else behind him, it seemed to be collected.
Yeah, and the thing is, Chris, I think when that tunnel turn, you come off that tunnel turn, the track kind of narrows out, and unfortunately, you get somebody that wrecks there, everybody just nowhere really to go. And plus, that's one of the highest points of speed on the entire track, and it can really just clog up that track very quickly. But Dean Doucette, I did notice maybe some right front damage on that 29 machine, Chris, if you can get a better view there, but I could be mistaken there.
I think that damage actually happened before this wreck. Thankfully for him, he may have been able to get into the back of someone previously on the restart or something like that. Not too much damage to hurt him, as he was still making his way back up through the field.
And we look at Chuck Sweeting, a driver that had a computer issue. He led. I don't know if he actually will get credit for leading a lap, but he was the leader at the start of this race. But I believe that his connection dropped and prevented him from actually leading a lap. Did not lose a lap and has avoided wrecks all night long, just trying to get that 75 machine back up to the front on debut, having a good run. James Torrey, a driver, we haven't talked about him at all. Got to give the Lone Star Racing driver a shout out as James Torrey started shotgun on the field, 43rd spot, and the 61-year-old out of Texas has made his way up into 18th position here in that number 2 machine. Just can't staying out of wrecks, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. If we have a moment, you should go back and watch the cockpit view of Chuck Sweeting as he had to make his way through that entire wreck. Didn't catch anyone.
We will take that advice on this accident. And while we have a second here, as we have very long pace laps here at Pocono. Let's see what Chuck Sweeting saw heading through this wreck here. So here we go. He's on the back end of Bill Benedict. And you're going to see the wreck right about now. So there you go. There's the car on the wall. And my goodness, everybody just kind of slams into it. Misses the 41, misses the 7, misses the 88, misses the 26. My goodness, the 26 almost hit him. Chuck Sweeting did an amazing job getting through that.
If you're going to end up having issues early on, you got to be able to make your way through accidents like that to be able to make it back up towards the front. And a great job by that number 75.
With Nearad on the outside, Person and McDaniel, Coy and Hanna, Martin and Torgerson, Bliski and McCann your top 10. Pace car is off, and we are going back to green. And Dale Nearad with a great start on the outside. Can Dale Nearad try to take over this lead and grab himself the position down the straightaway? It's a drag race. A lot of fanning out behind him.
Yeah, definitely. This is the first restart that Jeff Chandler has been on that inside lane and was able to make it work with Bernard Person behind him as he's going to clear the number 03. But wreck behind him.
Wreck behind him. Brody Hanna's involved. And we got McDaniel flipping violently in the back. Dean Doucette's involved. What in the world happened there? But it had to have started somewhere with the 42. That car is trashed. And yeah, the yellow flag very late on this wreck. So here we go. Zach McDaniel on the foreground of your screen there, and that's not a good angle. We're going to have to get another look at this accident, but my goodness, Zach McDaniel flipping. Torgerson makes it through that wreck. I don't know how. McDaniel flipping. I think James Torrey makes it through as well. Let's see if we can get a better view of this accident, because that was right in the spot where the TV cameras change position and always gives you a bad look. Let's see here. So we're side by side going into turn 1. Nearad runs up just a little bit. Nothing major here. McDaniel coming off the turn. Oh, into him, and then that sent Brody Hanna right in the back of him. And when he hit it, it's just like that wreck with Justin Haley in the Xfinity race. Nowhere anybody else could go as that 42 car just ricocheted back up across the track. And there's a graveyard down the bottom. Brody Hanna, Solari, Jason Speer, Kenneth Schultz, all involved.
And I think we jinxed the 75. He was unable to make it through that one, Jared.
I want to take another look at this accident. Let's see what happened looking out the back of Richie Coy. Or actually, let's look out the back of Zach McDaniel here. So Zach McDaniel, there's Brody Hanna on the back. Nothing going on here. Oh, and that's, yeah. Let's switch that around. Oh, what a wild ride. Oh, nothing. I think that was Chuck Sweeting that hits him full speed and we lose the camera. And Chris, when a wreck happens like that at the beginning of the pack, there's just nothing anybody can do. We'll jump, well, as we have time here, let's jump back on somebody that was in the middle of the pack here, Tony Solari, and see what he saw in that 74 machine. So, oh, Brad Patterson getting very loose in front of Solari there. There's the wreck, and oh, it's Solari that makes heavy contact with, and then he slams into the spinning Brody Hanna as the track clogged up. What unfortunates for a lot of drivers there, Chris.
Yeah, it certainly was. I mean, that was just an intense moment on the track. Nowhere for a lot of these guys to go, just because of how much speed that you have coming through that corner. And man, just tough night for a lot of drivers.
We got a lot of chatter in the our chats over on YouTube. Road Zombie, thanks for the compliment. We appreciate it. We enjoyed doing it. And your boy Dale Nearad made it through here. The big one, as Doyle Lawrence said. So, I mean, it has been a big accident right there.
It is, but the one thing that's doing is helping everyone out on fuel mileage, Jared. These guys, they're not going to need to save anymore.
I think pretty much this is going to eliminate any fuel mileage strategy. 25 laps to go. We did have some drivers that did pit under this caution. Ralph Nolan Jr. Pitted. Kenneth Schultz, Tim Bills pitted. Chad Lang pitted, but he might have had some damage, as did Wayne Grassi. But now this whole race is kind of transformed into something totally different, as we got some drivers in the top 10 we haven't even said one word about tonight, or very many words. Greg Holtz up here in 6th. Andrew Poliski is in 7th. Jeff Winter, who's been consistent in the top 10, he's still in 8th. Brad Patterson in 9th, and Steven Vrooman in the 00 involved in the first accident of the race. He's made his way back up to 10th place with James Torrey, who started last in 11th.
What a huge jump in positions for Torrey and that number 2 machine. That, I mean, coming from dead last in the field up to 11th on such a difficult track here, and also being back there and getting through all these wrecks, and that machine, it's pretty clean looking, Jared.
Yeah, and he avoided that massive melee. I don't know how, but he just came to a complete stop, and when Zach Badan was flipping over the track and was able to stay available there. My goodness, what a crazy race.
It certainly is. We're going to go back green here with 23 laps to go at the tricky triangle. And Jared, I don't think that we're done with cautions quite yet.
Now Chris, I think now, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think the attrition is going to step up even more than we've seen, because these guys don't have much time to get anything done at this point.
Yeah, I definitely think the intensity is going to be racking up here. I mean, we've seen guys taking it 2 and 3 wide, even in the tunnel turn, and we're barely able to make it through 2 wide there with some of these cautions. So being aggressive here is really going to make all the difference. And a lot of guys from in the back, they're going to have a long way to go.
Exactly right. Can Jeff Chandler hold off Dale Nearad? Both drivers looking for another win. Dale Nearad with 2, Jeff Chandler with 3. Can Bernard Persson, the only driver I think left that has won at this track that can still make something happen, can he grab his first win? Racing for a cause for a 7-year-old girl. Can he get it done? We're about to find out. Pace car is off. 24 to go. Green flag back out here at Pocono.
Wow, and Dale Nearad, yes, Dale Nearad got a huge start there on the 31 on the outside, but still, Jeff Chandler's going to pull even going into 1.
Chandler just getting a shove from Bernard Persson down the straightaway. Richie Coy's in there, so is Torgerson and Holt. And Dale Nearad with a strong move on the outside. He's going to be side by side with the 31 down the Long Pond straightaway. Nearad's going to pull edge. Can he get it done in the tunnel turn? Chandler's going to side draft him. Nearad's going to stay with him.
Nearad had to take the long way through the tunnel turn there, and you can see it. These guys are touching each other coming out of the corner.
Nearad and Chandler touch, and Nearad's going to take the lead. Chandler fights back.
All night, Chandler's not been up in the position of leading this race, coming through to the line. This is going to be the first lap. I think he's not led all night under green.
Dale Nearad powers his way to the front in the number 03 Bandit Racing Oreo Toyota. Can Jeff Chandler fight back? His teammate Bernard Person is in third. You also have Richie Coy, Troy Torgerson, Andrew Poliski, James Torrey up in the top 10. Chad Lang, where did these guys come from? Is there 3 wide back here for 10th as Kenneth Schultz and Brad Patterson trade a little paint?
And these guys all throughout the back are doing everything they can. Troy Torgerson in that 98 machine was way on the outside going into one and there and ended up on the inside coming out of the corner. That's how hard these guys are battling back here for the top 10 positions.
Chandler fights back through the tunnel turn. Dale Nearad loses that position, but he's going to fight back on the outside of turn 3, try to get a run, and now Jeff Chandler is going to slide in front of the 03. Coy looks underneath the 19 as they're going to fan out on the front straightaway.
Nearad is trying to figure out how to get into the draft of that 31 machine, and Jeff Chandler doing everything he can to block it.
Behind him, Coy is looking underneath Person. And Greg Holtz in that battle as well. We have a lap car of Kevin Rupert up ahead, and that's going to play some impact even if he gets out of the way. And Richie Coy can't make and they're touching. Greg Holt and Coy touch through the tunnel turn. Holt is going to take over the position. Oh my goodness, what a battle as Jeff Chandler fights his way back to the front in the number 31 of Bruzy Ford. Dale Nearad has conceded second place to his teammate Bernard Person. So can Bernie make it happen, Chris? Greg Holt's coming as well.
Yeah, Dale Nearad got really loose in the tunnel turn, setting up the speed for his teammate Bernard Person to get up here. And now Person sets his eyes on Jeff Chandler. We mentioned it. The number 8 car has a win here before. He's got to get up there and challenge Jeff Chandler soon as we're within 20 laps to go, Jared.
Chandler breaking the draft down the back straightaway. Person follows him down. And Greg Holt's trying to get underneath of Dale Nearad. That's the battle we're focusing on right now. Nearad slides it through the tunnel turn. He's going to lose that spot. Coy's going to pounce as well.
Yeah, Nearad seems to have gotten up into that higher groove and is kind of worn those tires a little bit more, and he's starting to slip back because of it, Jared.
Torgerson and Coy fighting for 5th place right now. 20 laps to go. Make that 19 to go as Coy gets ahead of Torgerson for 5th. Everybody fanning down the front straightaway. Poliski in 7th place, the only driver not doing so.
Chandler with a 5/10 lead over Person, who has a 5/10 over Holt. These guys are equally spaced out on the track, and man, this is a huge battle for the win here.
Drivers leaving the pits. Casey McMullen out of the pits. Stephen Vrooman out of the pits after damage done to those machines in earlier accidents. So they have rejoined the track here. But Chris, it has been all that you can ask for in this race. Chandler leading. Person is reeling him in just a little bit, but he's going to have to reel him in just a little bit more if he's want to catch him before the end of this race.
Absolutely. Right now, the tightest battle is with Richie Coy and Dale Nearad for 4th position, as Richie Coy is all over the bumper of the 03 coming down the backstretch.
Nearad might have used his stuff up trying to slow down Chandler. They are side by side behind him, but Nearad's going to hold on to that position as the top 6 have pulled away. Poliski now under pressure for 7th. Chad Lang and Wayne Grossi. Tim Bills also in here. I'm losing my voice, Chris.
Absolutely, as Wayne Grossi is going to take it 3 wide underneath Chad Lang here with Andrew Poliski on the outside. Going to battle it back out, get 2 wide going into the tunnel turn.
Wayne Grossi involved in an earlier accident. Poliski involved in an earlier accident. In fact, I think all these drivers have been involved in some type of accident. Maybe not that much, but they have been battling. And now Tim Bill's going to move ahead. Chad Lang up into 8th place, but Poliski doing a great job holding on to 7th place in a little bit of a damaged machine. McCanny, who found himself deep in traffic with some heavy front end damage there, is in 11th as well. But back up front, it's Chandler and Person, and they continue to do the dance, sliding down the front straightaway.
that they do. Chandler maintaining that 0.4 of a second lead over Person. Person's going to have to do everything he can. Maybe his best bet is hope that Holt behind him catches up and they can draft back up to Chandler.
The wife has brought me mints. I should be good for another 17 laps, but right now the excitement is ratcheting up. Chandler leading. Person and Holt has moved into third place. Burson, the defending champion, hasn't won. He's racing for a cause. A 7-year-old girl with battling cancer. And again, as we talked about, I mean, it is such a heartbreaking thing for anybody to go through a cancer battle. But my goodness, a 7-year-old girl is just, and Bernard Person sliding it off turn 3. He's really wanting to go after Chandler, and he gained up a significant amount of time, Chris.
He certainly did. He gained about a 10th coming out of turn 2 as Chandler was not able to maintain his pace going through that corner. Person looking to do it again here in 1, setting up for another good corner here as it looks like they're almost dead even on time coming through that sector.
We'll bring up the sector times here as these guys continue to battle Person and Chandler, and you'll see it here. Person was just a little bit quicker in that sector than Chandler. So if it's a negative number for the first driver, that means the second driver is gaining on him, and we'll flip that around to show you guys here. And you'll see, oh no, sorry, apologies. Person lost a little bit of time in sector 1, but he's catching, and yellow flag's out. And I'm not seeing anything on the track. Nothing. Chris,
and it looks like Chad Lang was involved in the wreck here as they were going 3 wide in the tunnel turn, or 2 wide in front of him. And another incident just like before. Man, the 42 takes a hard hit to the inside.
Let's see what happened here. Oh, here we go. So Poliski, McCanny, and Gil Gog all battling. They settle it out. Then we got Chad Lang there. Oh, McCanny gets up out of the groove, and when he hits the wall, slams into the 4-car of Chad Lang. Heavy impact to that machine. And let's see if we can get a better look at this accident now that we found it here. So Randy McCanny, it looks like maybe a little contact with him and Gil Gok, and nothing Chad Lang could do. Hard, heavy impact, and a tough night for Chad Lang, who is running in the top 10.
Man, the lucky one in all of that was Ralph Nolan Jr. He was directly behind the 42 of Chad Lang, and it was like immediate. He hit when the 42 got hit. He was able to keep driving straight through it, but man, what a huge, huge hit for the 42, Jared.
I think you were talking about the 27.
Yeah, I was talking about Randy McCanny just knocked out the 42, and when he did, it straightened out Randy McCanny. He was able to keep going straight, and that was good news for Ralph Nolan as he was able to just continue going without having to worry about damage.
Exactly right. And we got pit stops now, but Brian Helm electing to stay out, but Jeff Chandler will bring his car in. Can somebody make a move off pit road? Dean Doucette also staying out as well. So we got some strategy calls by one driver that's won a race and one driver that has not. Who will win this race? We got 14 laps to go. Likely we'll get the restart around 10 laps to go. Everybody taking tires. Chandler's down the way. Greg Holt's down the way. Bernard Person's down the way. It's going to be close. I think Greg Holt might have got him.
Yeah, definitely. And there was a little bit of strategy as it looks like Bill Benedict elected to take 2 tires.
He actually, it looks like he might have taken gas only. But that car has no front clip, so I don't know if maybe that was a mistake or what. So we'll have to see what happens with Bill Benedict. We have some more drivers on pit road. Lucky Dog was Tony Solari, so he has been able to get one of his laps back after that heavy impact with Zach McDaniel, the 42, earlier in the race. So let's reset this race for you guys at home. If you're just now joining us, We have had a lot of things going on. Jeff Chandler and Bernard Persson battled through the first segment. Dean Doucette was giving it everything in his 29 car coming through the field, using everything up that he had available. He is now back up to second. We've had two major incidents in this wreck that have consumed a lot of heavy contenders in the race. Brody Hanna, Casey McMullen, Tim Bills, Zach McDaniel went flipping. Lots of drivers involved. And now we are down to 14 laps to go. And we have 3 drivers that have elected to do a different strategy. Brian Helm, who pitted on 55. Dean Doucette, who pitted on 55. And Bill Benedict has gone to pit road, Chris. So I think that was a miscue on his part.
Yeah, I think so too, as he's able to go back down pit road. Going to get a little bit of work done to that machine, and really just to get out of the way of these guys. We're going to go back racing with, it looks like 2 to go, Jared, or 12 to go, Jared, and that's going to make things really intense. We've seen a lot of guys be aggressive early on. Well, now all you have is a short run. All you can do is be aggressive, and you're going to see a lot of that happen, especially from Jeff Chandler and Greg Holt, Bernard Persson behind Brian Helm and Dean Doucette. This is going to make for some wild racing.
Brian Helm hasn't won a race this year, so you know that he wants to get up here and use some strategy maybe to his advantage. He sits 13 in points. Dean Doucette, he won one race and likely will lock it and punch his ticket into the playoffs after this week or next week in that number 29 machine. He wants some more playoff points to go along with it. The guys behind him, Jeff Chandler, he's doing everything he can to get in the top 25 in points to get himself even into the playoffs. Greg Holt, he's just out here for wins. He's not going to be eligible for the playoffs, but my goodness, a win would do some good for the 32 machine as he's starting on a new journey in a new team. Dale Nearad, Troy Torgerson, Tim Bills, Ralph Nolan, and Richie Coy round out your top 10, Chris. 12 laps to go when the green flag will fly.
Well, we've seen Jeff Chandler be able to take advantage of that outside lane before on the restarts when he was in that second position, but now he's back in third position. It's going to be a lot more difficult to make moves up here.
And we will see how this race plans out. Brian Helm, Dean Doucette, they have 11 lap older tires than the guys behind him. These are savvy veterans. Can they do it? Can they make something happen and possibly punch their playoff ticket or solidify their position? Pace car is off. Green flag is back out. And Doucette with a great restart. Helm didn't get going at all.
No, he didn't. It's almost like that machine had a little bit of damage as he gets out of the way. But wow, what a huge run on the outside by Greg Holt.
Greg Holt with a power move, had to block Dale Nearad. That's going to shuffle Jeff Chandler well out of this group. Holt to the lead.
Holt, Nearad, Chandler, as they come out of the corner. Wow, what an incredible restart there. A lot of different passes, and man, these guys are aggressive early.
So now 2 Toyotas leading. Holt, who was just recently released from Frontline Esports, or RPM Motorsports, I should say, is leading the race. Dale Nearad, and caution's out. James Torrey's involved. McCanny is involved. Let's see what happened. They've already reset the pits. So here we go. It's all bunched up, and you'll see Torrey on that outside line. They're 3 wide in front of him. Poliski, and looks like he might have gotten hit. Oh my goodness, McCanny went flying through the air. Heavy impact. Bobby Terrell, I don't know how he missed it, but my goodness, we got to jump on board McCanny's car and see what happened to him. So here we go. That's Adam Newton in front of him. James Torrey there in the 2 car. He's going to come down the track. Oh, and he checks up, and when he gets on the brakes, that car just got loose, and McCanny nowhere to go. Heavy impact. Bobby Terrell somehow avoided that wreck, but Chris, this race is just not going to end right now.
It certainly is not. And Rennie McCanny, I hope he was wearing his brown pants, because that one was out of nowhere, Jared.
That was a heavy hit because he didn't see it coming and didn't have any time to let off the gas. If that was a real life hit, I mean, that would have, I think, would have hurt a driver of how hard that was. You can actually see down there where the heavy ruts that were dug into the ground there from that. But right now, those drivers that were up front, Dean Doucette dropped all the way to 6th place on those old tires, Helm to 10th. So they did not get going at all. And I'm surprised they haven't decided to pit here, Chris.
Yeah, that is a interesting choice here, but at this point, you've kind of made your bed, Jared. If you pit now, you're going to lose all these positions anyway. You're not giving yourself the opportunity to fight for them if you just come into the pits now. So that's most likely what Dean Doucette and Brian Helm are thinking. But I think they're still going to end up losing all those positions anyway. But now we're going to restack them up. Jeff Chandler's still going to restart in third, but this time he's going to have Greg Holt and Dale Nearad in front of him. Nearad, who was able to take away the lead from Chandler early on the outside, is going to be able to do so again here, Jared.
And Chris, the other thing I was just thinking, I was kind of just doing some quick thinking. I wonder if Dean Doucette and Brian Helm are out of tires.
That could be the case. We talked about them having 5 sets for here tonight. Well, we've had now 8 cautions, and if these drivers have made use of those cautions, you're probably right. They've used all of those tires. They may not have anything to go into the pits for.
Yeah, so 5 tires. That's 1 on the car itself, and then 4 in the pits. So it is likely that we have some drivers that are running up against their tire allotment in this race. But right now, Greg Holt, who won back at Charlotte, now he is not going to have enough races eligible to be eligible for the playoffs. You have to start at least 15. He is only going to get to, I think, 14 races if he makes all of them from here on out. Either way, it would be a tough mountain for him to climb, as he was about 200 points outside the top 25, let alone the top 16. But it is still, a win is a win, and you love to get wins and build on some momentum as the season goes on. Dale Nearad, he's got 2 wins. His last win, if you can believe it, was all the way back at Bristol Dirt. He won his first 2 races in the first 7 races of the year, and it's kind of been a dry spell for the 03. Can he get it done? Jeff Chandler, who's been on a roll, he needs all the points he can get regardless. Bernard Persson, racing for a cause. We've talked about it a lot tonight. Racing for a 7-year-old girl battling cancer, and a heartbreaking story. But Bernard Persson putting up a valiant effort and a strong, strong fight in that number 8 machine. The defending champion trying to find his first win. Tim Bills, the Dover winner, in 5th. Dean Doucette, the California winner, in 6th place. Ralph Nolan, Troy Torgerson, who won at Darlington, Richie Coy, who won at Martinsville, and Brian Helm, your top 10. We have some drivers, Chris, that haven't won a race. Now is their chance. Some of these guys haven't been in this position all year.
No, they haven't, and there's a couple of drivers that have been in here and have always been a bridesmaid, but never the bride, and those drivers are Bernard Persson. He's not been able to get it to finish the race in victory lane. He's going to look to do so here tonight. Going to be starting in that 4th position on the outside. He's got something to race for, as we mentioned, on that 8 machine. He's looking to put this thing in victory lane and secure his spot in the playoffs.
All right, Chris. We're not gambling, but what would you say? Would you take the over or the under on 4.5 laps of green flag action?
I'm going to take the under.
Oh, okay. So there you go. Chris thinks we're going to have another quick caution here. I tend to agree because these guys are now ratcheted up so much. Casey McMullen has headed down pit road here late, maybe to get some damage repairs. That 71 car involved in 2 heavy incidents tonight. And you look at the front of this field, Dean Doucette with damage, Tim Bills with a little damage. My goodness, we got drivers all over the place with damage, but still fighting out here to try to get this win and get a good finish.
Absolutely. The drivers that have been up front have been able to stay out of the mess behind them. That's what's been able to get them to this point and keep them up front. Now it's going to come down to these drivers to figure out who's going to win this race. And I wouldn't be surprised, Jared, if we end this one under a green-white checkered.
And we have 1 attempt at those. Unlike NASCAR, we don't go all night or go for 3 or however. It's 1 chance, but that's 9 laps away if we need it. Holt and Nearad, 2 Toyotas, going to lead us down to restart. Chandler in Persson, Bills and Doucette, Nolan and Torgerson, Coy and Helm, your top 10. Green flag is back out here at Pocono.
Pretty dead even start between both of those drivers. It looks like Nearad on the outside is going to get a little bit of help from Persson leading into 1.
Teammates shoving each other, and Chandler shoving his former teammate down on the inside. Who's going to persevere? Nearad with the edge right now, but he's got the outside line. He's going to cut down in front of Holt.
He certainly did, and left the 8 car all by himself on the outside. He's going to drop back to 4th as Jeff Chandler gets around.
And he had to do it. He had to make that move, Chris. Otherwise, he might have been hung out. as he has pulled out just a little bit of a gap on Greg Holt. Bernard Person battling back on Jeff Chandler side by side through the trioval. Don't count out Tim Bills in the 77 or Troy Torgerson or Ralph Nolan.
Lots of side-by-side action here as we've seen all night long. Jeff Chandler trying to get clear of the 8 car. Behind him, Troy Torgerson and Tim Bills side-by-side as well.
And it looked like Dean Doucette almost hit the wall. That car really struggling with those old tires, continuing to drop back outside the top 10, as is Brian Helm. Person clears Chandler for a second, but now Chandler gets the run down to turn 1, side-by-side again. Bill sideways through turn 1.
Trying to drift it through the corner there as the 31 cleared the 8 car, but the 8 car coming back on the inside.
Chandler side by side. Person wants this third place finish. He wants to compete for the win. They are door to door through the tunnel turn, coming off the corner. They have been side by side the entire.
And behind them, it looks like Troy Torgerson actually caught the wall, trying to go through there as quickly as possible.
And now he's underneath the 8 car. That's going to allow Jeff Chandler to kind of sneak out up front. Dale Nearad, he's got Greg Holt all over the back of him, but he's able to break the draft and kind of keep him at bay right now as we are down to 6 laps to go, which at Pocono, Chris, is an eternity.
It certainly is, with only a 2/10 of a lead. Dale Nearad leads them into the corner. Greg Holt behind them. Jeff Chandler closing up to Greg Holt in that 32. He wants to get up here and get that win that escaped last week.
Bernard Person in fourth. Torgerson and Nolan, where did he come from? He's up to 6th place, trying to trudge forward to get only his second top 5 of the year in that number 95 machine as he continues to battle. But Dale Nearad giving everything he's got right now as Person battles back on the outside of Chandler into 3.
Chandler got wicked loose coming through the tunnel turn, and that gave way to the 8 going on the outside. And now he's going to try to take the position away from Chandler coming down to the start-finish line.
Side by side, Torgerson's going to go with Person down the straightaway. He's going to abandon the Ford, and he's going to shove the Toyota by. Up front, it looked like Nearad's still holding on to the lead. And I think Person's going to clear Chandler into 1. He does.
He certainly does, and drops to the bottom of the track. Going to be giving a little bit of drafting help to Chandler, who's able to maintain that position over Torgerson. But up front, Dale Nearad still has a 2/10 of a second lead over Greg Holt going into the tunnel turn.
We are both losing our voice at this point in time. It's been a crazy, exciting race. One of the most exciting races we've covered all year long, and that's saying something. Dale Nearad, we look out the back of the Speer Motorsports 03. He's got the 32. Got kind of the wrong paint on that machine, unfortunately, but he is the 32 of Greg Holt behind him, and Bernard Person is coming as well.
He certainly is. He's trying to do everything he can, but behind him, Jeff Chandler is all on the bumper of that number 8 machine as they're basically bump drafting down the straightaway.
Person's going to hold on to that spot. Torgerson's falling off the back. 4 drivers to settle this thing. 4 laps to go. Chandler up the racetrack. Could be a move to try to lengthen the straightaway and get a run on Person, but that's going to catch up. Oh, Nearad has to block Greg Holt. Greg Holt gets a corner down inside of him.
He certainly does. Holt on the inside going through the turn. He's going to take the lead and put the 32 machine at the point over Nearad. Nearad going to be all over the back bumper, trying to get back to him at the line.
Nearad has to get something going. It's still a lot of laps to go. We've seen everything happen in the NASCAR races over the weekend. Nearad slides up the racetrack, but right now it's going to be Greg Holt, followed by Person, followed by Chandler, and Chandler's going to make a move. Oh, they're contact, and there's all kinds of problems.
Wow, Jared. Wow.
All kinds of problems behind it, and I think Jeff Chandler's going to survive that incident, and Dale Nearad and Bernard Person, the negative beneficiaries. Let's take a look and see exactly what happened here. So here we go.
So a great view from the chopper cam as, man, they were just battling really hard there. Great blocks by the 03, but not good enough, Jared.
Yeah, I think he tried to close off that gap and just couldn't do it. And Jeff Chandler slides through. Torgerson and Nolan also go through very easily. And I believe that those drivers, I don't think anybody else was involved there. Let's take a look at another angle of this. wreck here, and you'll see it. I mean, just Dale Nearad just did not get a good run off turn 3, had to block the run, blocks all the way down to Chandler, tries to block him back, and when he blocked him back, hard impact to Bernard Person, and both of those drivers, did Dale Nearad, somebody hit Dale Nearad? No, he literally stopped on this track, and everybody avoids him. Some drivers very close, but that is heartbreaking right there, Chris.
It certainly is. There's luckily 6 lanes on the front straightaway to avoid, and it's a good thing because 3 of those lanes were blocked by 2 different cars.
So, first off, you were wrong. We went more than 4.5 laps, but you were right. We're going to have a green-white checker.
Well, that puts me at 50%. I think I'm still good.
50-50 is better than 0-0, right? But
Absolutely. These guys are going to be battling hard. Now we're going to have Jeff Chandler on the outside of Greg Holt here with just a couple laps, Jared. This is going to be an intense battle between these two. But now, how much damage did Jeff Chandler get in that accident?
Yeah, there was contact on that right or left front. Not the most aero-specific area on a car, but it is still something we have to look at. We also have some drivers that we haven't seen in the top 10 tonight. Gil Gock and Ralph Nolan, both in the top 5, both looking for huge runs tonight and could really jumpstart their season. Nolan on the fringes of the top 25 of points. Gil Gock back in 35th, just trying to find some momentum in that number 85. Tracy Powers has made his way back up to 7th. Coy, Steven Vrooman up into the top 10, and Jason Martin back there hanging around, doing a good job in 10th place. Just had a Poliski Doucette. Adam Newton recovering from his wreck in his debut Cup race in 13th, with Rachel Hunt and Brian Helm, your top 15.
If you're Greg Holt, what do you do now? You almost had this race in the bag because of the guys battling behind you. Now everything's changed. You have to hold off Jeff Chandler, who's led the majority of this race, Jared. And beyond him, you've got Troy Torgerson, Ralph Nolan Jr., Gil Clark, Tim Bills, all these guys that have been racing up front all race.
Well, now I get, my secondary question is, Chris, Greg Holt and Jeff Chandler, Jeff Winter as well, they're part of RPM Motorsports. That entity dissolved. Greg Holt's gone on and done is going to do his own thing. Jeff Winter and Jeff Chandler joined Frontline Esports in their group, and so it's the former teammates battling for a win in the first race since they're not teammates. It's a storyline
that makes it just that much harder to figure out who to help to get to the front here. I mean, you mentioned it, that makes things a little bit uncomfortable for these drivers, as they're going to do everything they can. They want the win without a teammate. I mean, that's really what it's coming down to. They want to win. There's no second place here.
All the top 3 have won, but you look back at Nolan and Gil Gock. Neither of these drivers have won. Neither of these drivers have had great seasons this year in a lot of ways. Gil Gock sitting in 35th in points, and Ralph Nolan in 26th in points. So you know that they want good runs here tonight. How aggressive, when you can see the lead, how aggressive do you get, Chris?
Well, we're under 9 cautions for a reason, and I think it shows how aggressive these guys are going to be. At this point, with green-white checkered, you have to be aggressive. You're going to be throwing that car sideways in the tunnel turn if it means you get a better run going to that short shoot into turn 3.
Nolan hasn't finished in the top 5 yet this year. His best finish was 6th at Daytona. He followed that up in the Coke 300 or the Charlotte 300 a couple weeks ago with a 10th place finish. That's his only 2 top 10s on the entire season. Gil Gock has no top 10s, no top 5s on the season. Sometimes you take what you can get, but now you're touching the front. It's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do. It's a green-white checker, so they will get the green flag and the white, or then the white flag, and then the checker flag to end this thing out. Holt, who's come from the back of this field, started in 30th. He's leading with Chandler, Ralph Nolan, Torgerson, Tim Bills, Gock, Coy, Jason Martin, Tracy Powers, and Vrooman, your top 10, as we are going to end this thing. This is this is an official green-white checker.
It certainly is, and that will mean that if a caution comes out, whoever is the leader will win this race. And as aggressive as these guys have been in the tunnel turn, we may end up ending this race under caution. No one wants it, And we're going to go back racing here with Greg Holt, Jeff Chandler making up the front row.
And if I'm Ralph Nolan, I think I get my nose in there as much as I can, but I think you're kind of hoping that maybe these guys take each other out or something, and then he kind of sneak by. He's done that all night long. He has avoided several massive incidents here tonight. Can that 95 car get his first top 5 and maybe his first career win tonight? Can Greg Holt hold off his former teammate in Jeff Chandler? Can Jeff Chandler redeem himself after dominating this race? Can he get back up there and win? Or can somebody like Troy Torgerson or Tim Bills solidify their place in the playoffs with their second win of the year? We're about to find out, Chris. Pace car is going to make the left-hand turn, and we are about to ready to get going again in the Pocono 200. Green flag is out. Here we go.
Jeff Chandler gets a little bit of a better restart than Greg Holt on the outside. Chandler does have a little bit of damage on the rear of that car, but he's going to lead them to turn 1.
Here we go, down into turn number 1. Holt is going to pull out, though. Chandler, can he make something happen? Nolan up the racetrack. And Chandler's
Holt
losing ground.
Going to slide up in front of Chandler, blocking that run as they're going to go down the back straightaway, headed to 2.
Some drivers off pace in the back. Rachel Hunt making an aggressive cut down underneath Adam Newton behind there. They're 3 wide for 12th place. Nolan is looking underneath of Troy Torgerson for 3rd. Chandler has made a great run through the tunnel turn. Holt gets loose off the corner. They're side by side going through 3. Chandler backs out just a little bit.
Chandler had to back out, worried he was going to collect the number 32 going out of the tunnel turn, as you mentioned there. But now right back to the back bumper of the 32 as they go to 1 lap to go.
Side by side, white flag in this flagman's hand. Next flag ends it. No matter what, it's over for somebody. Holt leads. Chandler second. Torgerson holding off Nolan for 3rd. Bills is holding off Gawk for 4th.
Hold on, it's not over yet. Jeff Chandler closing up to the back of Greg Holt, looking to the outside, doing everything he can. He's going to try to get to him going into the tunnel turn.
Down the back straightaway for the long pond straightaway for the final time. What does Jeff Chandler have left in the bag? Holt is there. Chandler makes the move on the outside. They're going to touch down into turn 3. Who is going to take this thing? Chandler on the inside, coming to the flat turn number 3. White flag, checker flag is in the air. Who is going to grab this thing? Holt on the outside. It's going to be a drag race down to the start-finish line. It's going to be Greg Holt grabbing his second career victory here, holding off Jeff Chandler and Troy Torgerson for your top 3.
Big crash behind him coming to the line. Don't know exactly who it is, but wow, what an incredible finish. Greg Holt holds off a charging Jeff Chandler, and man, who would have saw that coming? Wow, great driving by that number 32 machine.
Wow, and we're trying to see who all was involved. Maybe Dean Doucette was involved in this late caution here. Let's see if we can quickly get a replay on what maybe happened here. So we got Dean Doucette. We don't have any clear indications of any driver involved. So he's underneath Andrew Politsky. This is a battle for about 12th position. And maybe it's a little bit further back than this. Looks like it is. So it's not Dean Doucette. I'm not, Chris, I'm not finding anything that really happened here on the last lap.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and continue looking at it myself. But man, what a great finish we had here tonight.
Unbelievable race. Greg Holt holds off, grabs his second career victory, beating Jeff Chandler. Torgerson 3rd, Nolan 4th. Tim Bills will grab your 5th position. And Chris, it's been a heck of a race, and we're going to hear from all these drivers here in just a moment. But my goodness, I don't know what else to say.
I don't either. And that wreck was between Brody Hanna and Michael Watts coming to the line. It looked like they both just were going as hard as they can, made a little bit of contact, and both of them, it looks like the 3 ended up sliding across the line. Brody Hanna will end up right behind him in 20th, so they didn't lose any positions, but man, that was a huge hit for those guys as both of them caught the inside wall at the end.
Exactly right. Greg Holt's going to burn down, and we are going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back, and we're going to hear from our top 3 finishers and get a wrap on Pocono as we look ahead to the next road course, Road America. back live here at Pocono Raceway, where we have witnessed an intense finish, a green-white checker finish that saw Greg Holt grab his second win of the year, holding off Jeff Chandler and Troy Torgerson in the process. Chris, I don't even know where to start with this race. So much happened, so much excitement, and I tell you what, I was on the edge of my seat all night.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys battling it out, aggressive here. So from all the way here to lap 80, I think 80 it finishes on 81, I believe. But man, just so much aggression out of all of these drivers. You can definitely tell that we're winding down this regular season and the playoffs are near. These guys, they're doing everything they can for wins and points, Jared.
And speaking of the playoffs, Jeff Chandler, I believe, will get into the top 25 in points with those bonus points as well. So he is going to be a driver we'll have to watch for, as now he could be a driver that's going to take a playoff spot. Also, Ralph Nolan into the top 25. Tim Bills continuing to move up, as well as you see the championship standings on your screen. Wayne Grossi almost into the top 10. So, but otherwise, the top 10 did not change any positions. But Chris, we're going to head down and talk to some of these drivers, and we're going to grab Troy Torgerson. And I'm down here with Troy Torgerson, who grabbed third place tonight. Troy, you had the front row seat for a lot of action tonight. I don't even know where to start, but congratulations on third place.
Yeah, thanks, Jared. We had a real fast car tonight. There's no doubt about it. We just really couldn't get going. They're just so hard to race out there in the pack, and we made a move there on the outside and got some position into the top 5, and then I think the 8 and the 03 got together there, and we got caught up with the in turn 1 incident with the 23 when something happened. I don't know. We got some front end damage, but the car was super fast tonight.
Well, Troy, I mean, it was a crazy hectic race. We had some short runs, we had some long runs. We thought maybe fuel mileage was going to play a part. It never did. And then tonight, you look at this race and how it transpired. You were out there kind of as a lone man. Your team, your teammates weren't up there or were caught up in some incidents early on. Kurt Davidson especially. But you managed to persevere. But did you think that you could catch Jeff Chandler? It just seemed like he had just a little bit extra tonight.
Yeah. We had a real fast car, taking nothing away from the RPM guys, man. Those guys are fast every week. Just an honor to be able to race with them and go to door with these guys. Yeah, we were just in restart hell tonight, man. It seemed like somebody'd stay out on older tires and we'd get behind them, or we get stuck on the inside lane there like 90% of the time on the restarts tonight, and we'll lose 4 or 5 spots and then have to climb our way back up. It was just bad luck on the positioning for the restarts tonight, but I'm happy with third place. Like I said, man, the team put a monster underneath us tonight there, and we came home with the podium.
So you're, unofficially, you're still third in points. Didn't gain enough to pass Richie Coy, but very close to gaining enough on him to grab it. But you're pretty much, with that win and with 9 races to go, I think you can't be locked in until after Road America, but you pretty much only have to start that race to be officially locked into the points, the playoffs. Does that change your mentality moving forward? Are you still just going out there for wins, or do you start trying to prep maybe for some of these playoff tracks coming forward?
We prep for each race every week, man. I'm going to actually miss Road America. I'll be out of town, so it's vacation time for me. So I won't be able to clinch, but hopefully when we get back, we'll be able to, lock ourselves in.
Well, there you go, Troy. Well, congratulations on a great race and moving 2 points behind Richie Coy for that all-important second place in points. I'm going to turn the floor over to you and let you have the final word. And once again, congrats on third.
Thanks, Jared. Yeah, I definitely got to thank my team, man. Kurt and the guys, just a whale of a job this week on the set. We missed qualifying, on the line. We had a faster car in qualifying than what it showed. But I thank you guys, Chris and Jared, for putting on these broadcasts every week. Blackwater for sponsoring the league, and all the guys in the league, man. This is a fun league to race, and there's a lot of guys out there you can just rub tires with, man, and week in and week out. So congrats to Brody and all the admins for putting together a great thing here. So anyways, thanks a lot, guys.
All right, Chris, that was Troy Torgerson with a solid run, continuing to move forward in the points. And I think you're down with second place finisher Jeff Chandler, who I believe moves inside the top 25, which puts him back in the playoff race.
It certainly does. Jeff, congratulations on making it back into the top 25. I know that is a little bit of a struggle for you with your work schedule, but congratulations on the P2 finish here tonight. Jeff, take me through this race for you. You were always up in the top 5, it seemed like, but a very hard battling racetrack here tonight at Pocono.
Yeah, it's clean air is king, at Pocono now. It used to not be that way. I mean, and now it's a draft track big time. So I knew there was never going to be any separation, so I knew I needed to get up front and just kind of hold on to it as best I could. And I did that pretty good for the most part. But I don't know, the restart before the last one, 2 guys had stayed out and on older tires, and I knew that was going to be tough, for especially with the fast, real fast guys behind them on fresh tires. So, that was kind of sealed my fate there. But regardless, it was, wow, what a last few exciting laps.
It certainly was, and I'd be remiss if I didn't ask about the contact between you and Dale Nearad and Bernard Person there at the end. Take us through from your perspective of what it was that happened.
Well, I viewed it that Dale was on the end, on the very inside, drafting with Greg. I had a run up. I got out of turn 3 really good, and I had such a good run. Bernie was on my outside, and next thing I know, Dale was pulling over, and I didn't, from my perspective, I couldn't tell if I moved to him or he moved to me. But he just came in the server and apologized, said it was all on him. He tried to block me and waited too late to do it.
Well, certainly an aggressive move by Nerad, but he wasn't the only one all night tonight. This track, it definitely was an aggressive race between all these guys. Did you kind of expect that coming into Pocono?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, even the A Open races, there was just you could break the draft if you had a teammate and you could hook up, and you had a fast enough setup. You could actually break the draft, and some guys were winning by 15 and 20 seconds. In the A Open races. Here, it was just Jeff was too far back, and he just never could get up front. So I just knew if you have some help, you can definitely make some moves. But I'm going to tell you, when you're one-on-one, like we were in the top 5 or 8, you're hanging on to your position is all you're trying to do at that point.
Absolutely. Is there anyone that helps get this 31 machine to and from the virtual track you'd like to thank?
Oh yeah, definitely. My team at Frontline Esports, great bunch of guys. We work so well together. Definitely like to, recognize Judd Danielson of the Bruzy Racewear. They take such good care of us. Doyle Lawrence, he does all my paints, and I think he's just the best in the business at Raven Graphics. And Ken Byron, he just came on from, he's Ryco Motorsports, and he takes, he's helping sponsor our team too. Of course, Darkmatter Designs, we appreciate what they do for us. Full Throttle TV, can't I tell you, I love watching even if I don't do well, I love watching the broadcast. You and Jared, do a great job. FTSR, definitely. But really what I'd like to do is a special shout out to Tim Bill's crew chief, Russ. He's going through a tough time right now, and we're all thinking about him and, praying for him big time, and just hoping for the best.
Absolutely. And in this community, even though it is virtual for the most part, we are a big family here at Full Throttle Sim Racing and the Darkmatter Designs Cup Series. So we'll all be sending our best well wishes to Russ and that 77 spotter for Tim Bills. Well, congratulations again, Jeff, on your P2 finish here tonight. We'll look forward to next week at Road America. I don't know if you're going to be able to make that one with your work schedule, but man, with you being back in the top 25, you may be calling in sick.
Well, that's what I did tonight, so I will be at Road America next week.
Well, you hear it there, Jared. He pulled a little hooky here to be here tonight.
I'm exposed now. I hope they're not watching.
There you go. Dedication, Jeff.
That's right, man. I love FTSR.
Absolutely, and congrats on the P2 finish. Jared, you've caught up with tonight's winner, Greg Holt, in that number 32 machine, bringing it home in victory lane here tonight for the second time this season for that machine.
Yeah, Greg Holt. I mean, what more can we say? What a race you had, man. Congratulations grabbing your second career victory. Your first race with the new team, and you got it done tonight.
Yeah, no. I I honestly didn't know I was going to have that kind of car here. I was kind of worried. We had put a lot of work into the car during the week, and I didn't know if I was going to have that kind of speed. We just kind of riding around, and then we just kept making up. Hey, getting to the front. Then we were there. Crazy. Wasn't expecting it at all.
It was a heck of a run. I mean, I to be honest with you, Greg, I don't know if we really talked about you too much at the beginning part of this race. I mean, you qualified in 30th. You made some gains here. There were some accidents. There was some attrition. But you were running in the mid-pack at the most of this race, and then all of a sudden, two big accidents happened, and the 91, I think, is what you had out there tonight. But the 91/32 found its way through, and all of a sudden, you're in the top 5. At that point in time, were you thinking, I got a shot at this?
Yeah, well, as the race was going on, and because what was happening is you get breaks in the field, and I'd get to the front of where the break was, and there was a gap. There was no more draft, and everybody was fighting all the time. So you never really get to work together. And the cars in front of you, they always seem to be just in a train. So every time the caution came out, I get a chance to suck back up to that next group of cars. And once we got up there, I felt like I could, run as good as them. And I didn't have anybody I was really working with. I mean, I'm still buddies with Jeff, but we were racing for a win. And I mean, if I was going to get a chance to get to his bumper and push him along, I would. And I was hoping he was going to do the same for me. But yeah, I mean, once we got there, I just felt like I could make moves. And then we got to the lead, and I don't know. It was just crazy events. It was a ton of fun. I mean, it was great.
It was some of the most exciting racing I've ever called at the end there. And you managed to put yourself in a position, Greg. You're battling there on the green-white checker with Dale before the green-white checker. Dale Nearad, he gets out to a little bit of league. You're able to chase him down, and you look up in your mirror, and you see some contact, and all of a sudden, some of your contenders get knocked out. Did that breathe a sigh of relief, or did that make it even more nervous knowing you had to go through a green-white checker to clinch this thing?
I wanted it to be over. I didn't want to see that caution. I just wanted to be able to go. I had finally, had gapped a second place car by like 6-7 tenths there. And I felt like I was pulling him a little bit. I've kind of thought one car could make it real hard to get by me, but a group of them, you get a couple of them that get a good run, and you can't stop it. I got stuck on the bottom with 3 or 4 cars, get a run up the outside, and you lose 4 spots in one straightaway. Yeah,
the draft seemed very prevalent tonight, more so than I've really seen too much here at Pocono. Did that kind of play into your hands as far as, you talked about earlier getting to the front of the group and you lose your momentum because there's nobody to draft with. But at the same time, did that kind of help you out at the end of the race when you got that big lead like that?
Yeah, I don't know as if it works so much for the front car because, again, he's got nobody to draft with. So, I mean, this draft package in the car, it's funny when you're in a group, you need the cars, but when you're the first 1 or 2 cars, sometimes it'll make it hard to draft up. So it's almost like they reduced the dirty air a little bit before this week.
Yeah, it did seem that way. And you put on a great show, Greg. You're sitting about 250 points outside the top 25. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's probably not looking good for your playoff chances. What's your goal going into the rest of these races? Are you just trying to go out there and win some races, get some good finishes, build some momentum?
Yeah, you know what? Jeff had invited me to come here to hang out with those guys. So in a competitive league, and I have my own team that I run with, but me and Jeff we're buddies. And once they joined Frontline, obviously they had to change that, but that's okay and understandable. So I still like to come hang out with them. But yeah, I'm here. I really want to finish out the season and hopefully bring a few more guys with me for next year. Bring another team to compete with you guys, because we do a lot of this stuff. So see how many we can steal. Maybe it would be a spoiler. We can't make the championship. Maybe it would be a spoiler.
Well, there you go, Greg. We're happy to have you. You've been a really good driver in every race that I've seen you, so very happy to have you on board. And congratulations grabbing your second win, I think 5 races, I believe. So congrats to that. But I'm going to turn the floor over to you and let you have the last word here tonight on the broadcast.
All right, thanks. I'd like to give a shout out to everybody at Performance Sim Sport. Thank Darkmatter for putting this on. Thank you guys in the broadcast booth and everybody that's involved in this. It's a great league. I love to watch the broadcast after it too. It's a ton of fun. It's a really good time. Thank everybody that's involved for putting it on.
All right, Chris, that was Greg Holt. He grabs his second career win in 5 races, and he does it in dramatic fashion once again, just like Charlotte.
He certainly does, and holding off a charging Jeff Chandler, who led the majority of this race, Jared, but was not able to put it in victory lane, as Greg Holt was able to hold him off all the way down to the finish line. And man, it was a hard-fought battle. It was not easy, that's for sure.
It sure wasn't, and that race, it put my voice out of commission. It was a heck of a race, and we were going to move on to it. We just had an inaugural race for the first time. We raced at National Super Speedway last week. Next week, we're going to be heading to Road America, the very first time that the Cup cars have raced there. Xfinity has been going there for a few years now. So the Cup Series will be in action next week for their 4th road course already this year at Road America. Can't wait for that race. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Jeff Chandler has won the last 2 road courses, but he didn't do it easily. Tony Solari and Lane Allen fought him tooth and nail both of those times. So we'll see what happens moving up.
We certainly will, as Jeff Chandler will be there. He ended up playing hooky to be here tonight, and he mentioned it himself. So he's kind of our road course king at this point. We'll have to keep an eye on him next week, or will someone steal the race like here tonight with Greg Holt capturing the victory?
And we'll find out all that stuff coming up next week on Full Throttle TV. Hope you'll join us then. We got all kinds of action on Full Throttle TV. It's a busy week, one of the busiest weeks we've had. But tomorrow night, we're going to be kicking off the Kicking Asphalt Cup Series using the Next Gen Cup cars. You don't want to miss that. They're going to have their very first race at Daytona. It should be interesting, and all of us are going to be watching with intent eyes to see how that Next Gen car performs. And then on Wednesday night, Full Throttle Sim Racing will be back on Full Throttle TV with the Blackwater Products Truck Series on Wednesday night. And then we will be back next Monday with Road America. Full Throttle TV for Pocono Speedway. And I'm Jared Carr. We will see you guys out on the track.